Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I'm sure you know by now that the door you have just entered leads to a strange world, a land of forbidden fancies, peopled by giants and pygmies, kings and cobblers, saints and sinners. Happy children play in its streets, while just behind lurk iniquitous monsters. Unspeakable crimes are committed here, and acts of breathtaking valor. You are the sovereign in this place. It is the realm of your own imagination. Our story this time searches one of its deep recesses, the hidden place of fear. Our mystery drama, Death Pays No Dividend, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Mary Jane Higby and stars Anne Shepard and Guy Sorrell. A famous traveler once said that the most important words in any language are, where is the exit? Où est la sortie? Donde está la salida? But what of the place where there is no way out, where every wall is a blank one, marked no exit? This is the circumstance of three men whose work brings them to the tip of a very small island. There was once a stockade here. It was the wall for which the street was named. Wall Street is silent now. The rush of the day has not yet descended. But 30 stories above the narrow street, footsteps echo sharply along a marble corridor.
Miss Hannigan! Miss Hannigan, wait!
Oh, Mr. Green. Good morning.
I didn't expect you here this hour in the morning.
Mr. Green, I've been so worried.
About getting another job? Well, I'm sure we can help you. Our recommendation should be worth something in spite of...
No, not about myself. It's Mr. Ellis.
Oh?
He's horribly depressed.
Well, that's only to be expected. You put your whole life into a business, and then through no fault of your own, it suddenly blows up in your face.
No, wait. Please. Don't open the office door yet. I've got to tell you something.
Well, couldn't you tell me inside?
No, I think Mr. Ellis may be inside there. I do hope so. He's not in his apartment. He worked late last night, cleaning out the desk and making the last arrangements.
It's like a funeral.
Oh, it's worse than a funeral for Mr. Ellis. He's not like you and Mr. Folger. You both have families, someone to share the...
Well, it's small comfort to share disgrace with people you love, to drag them down with you. My two boys...
I know. I didn't mean to minimize. It's just that... Well, frankly, I'm afraid Mr. Ellis is going to do away with himself.
Kill himself? Oh, no, he wouldn't do that.
He made me go home last night. I wanted to stay with him, but he forced me to leave. I tried nearly all night to get him by phone. No answer.
Well, let's get in and see what's going on.
Oh, good heavens. Papers blowing all over the place.
There's a draft.
The wind... Mr. Green, look. Standing on the ledge to the left of the window.
Good Lord. Careful, Miss Hannigan. We mustn't startle him. He might jump. You better speak to him, but quietly.
Yes.
Try to sound calm.
Mr. Ellis, don't do it. Mr. Ellis, please don't. Mr. Ellis, he doesn't seem to hear me.
He hears you all right. Try again.
Come back in, please. You may hurt somebody else if you... Mr. Ellis, listen to me. Come back. You mustn't do this. Please. It's no use.
I'll try. Victor, don't do it. Listen to me. What I'm going to say is important. There's a better way. Did you hear me? There's a better way. John and I have a plan. You may be doing the right thing, Vic, but you're doing it the wrong way. Victor, get back in here.
He moved.
He's coming in.
Yes.
When he gets his head to the window, grab his arm.
Oh, if only he doesn't fall now.
Damn narrow ledge.
Oh, dear Lord, don't let him fall. Don't let him.
Oh, there you are, Victor. Now, steady, old man.
Come, Mr. Ellis.
Let me go. All right. Sit down.
Thank God.
Close the window, Miss Hannigan.
I looked down. I could have done it if I hadn't looked down. I fouled this up like everything else. I can't do anything right.
Oh, don't say that. Nothing that happened was your fault. You were all victims of a rotten crook.
I didn't have the guts to jump. Just didn't have the guts.
Thank heaven you didn't. You must never try a thing like that again. Never.
All right.
It's a sin.
It's all right now, Miss Hannigan.
Yes, it's all right now. I'd never forgive myself.
No. Calm down.
Good morning. What's going on? What's with Miss Hannigan?
She's had a bad shock.
What happened?
Later, John. Please, Miss Hannigan.
I'm so scared. I'm helpless. I'd never forgive myself.
Look, come on now. Snap out of it. Miss Hannigan.
She's been under a terrible strain.
I'm sorry. My nerves.
Yes, of course. Victor, get her some water, will you?
Oh, sure. I'll be a moment.
I've got to talk to you alone, John.
Okay. Come in my office.
You sure you're all right now, Miss Hannigan?
I'm sorry I let go like that. It won't happen again.
All right, relax. Try to go on as though nothing had happened.
Here's the water. I didn't mean to put you through this. You, of all people.
Come on, John.
I think we should let Miss Hannigan go home.
No, that won't be necessary, Mr. Folger. I'm all right.
Kent?
Yes?
What did you mean? There's a better way.
We'll talk about it later.
Now, what was going on?
Victor tried to jump out of the window.
What?
He was standing on the ledge when we got here this morning.
Oh, for Pete's sake. That idiot. How long was he out there? Did he draw a crowd?
No. Well, I suppose somebody must have seen him, though.
That fool.
Well, this settles it, John. We've got to let him in on the scheme.
No. Vic's too unstable. He's sure to blow it.
It's the only way to keep him from blowing it. It's obvious. If word gets around that a member of the firm tried to commit suicide and then something happened to us, they'd never stop the investigation.
Not until our families were starving. Damn it all, that's not going to happen. I'm going to meet my obligation to Marie.
We both have obligations, John.
I'm not going to leave my wife helpless. I'm going to provide for her if it's the last thing I do.
It will be. Look, you don't understand, Victor. His father founded this firm, and it's been Victor's whole life a sort of memorial to his father. Well, now this scandal... Well, the mood he's in, he's apt to do anything. The only way to protect the scheme is to let him in on it.
Oh, you're probably right. But all my instincts are against it.
Well, shall I get him in here?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I'll get him. But if he louses this up... Vic?
Yes?
Come in here a minute, will you?
Yes? Well, what is it?
Close the door. You made a jackass of yourself,
Cool it, John. Have you got some cockeyed scheme to keep the scandal from breaking? Don't waste my time. We'll be lucky if we get less than 20 years.
Oh, come on. Drop the emotional jag and talk sense. Kent and I are in a worse spot than you are. We both have families to provide for, right? And there is just one way to do it. Our life insurance.
You can't collect on suicide.
We know that. But you can collect on murder.
What? I don't get it.
A good, clean bullet in the back of the head when you're least expecting it.
It's an easy way to go, Vic. You'd never know what hit you.
Well, how do you think you're going to bring that off?
Never mind, I can bring it off. Years ago, I did a favor for somebody. I didn't know him too well, but I used to drop into his place once in a while for, well, never mind what for. Later, he got mixed up with some pretty notorious characters, so I figured he'd be in a position to arrange what they call a contract.
What kind of contract?
Oh, for Pete's sake, I know you've devoted your whole life to the firm, but don't you ever go to the movies?
You must know there's such a thing as a hired killer.
Oh, that kind of contract.
Yes, that kind. So, we have 2 contracts right now. Now, do you want to make a third?
You mean pay somebody to kill me?
Yeah, $3,000.
Well, now, I don't know.
It makes a great deal more sense than what you just tried to do.
No pain.
No mess. These guys are professionals.
Well, it's a tough idea to get used to. How do I go about it?
1 quick phone call and $3,000 in cash.
Now, maybe you ought to take a few hours to think it over.
Well, I've tried 3 times to kill myself. I haven't the nerve. Okay, go ahead. Make your phone call.
You're sure?
Yes.
Because once I complete this call, there'll be no turning back.
You understand that, Victor?
You gotta be sure you want to go through with... Hello? Is Louis there? Right, I'll hold on. You sure you want me to go ahead?
Yes.
Louis? This is John Folger. Yes, I know. I promised not to call you again. No, we're going through with it. We, want to add another name to the shareholders. 3,000, right? Where? All 3 of us? Oh. All right. Will do. We're to put the money in a book in the 42nd Street Library. Put the book back on the shelf at exactly 5 p.m. Walk out and stand for a few minutes chatting near the lions on the library steps. And then split.
Oh, they're kidding.
Oh, no. They're in earnest. Deadly earnest.
Why hang around on the steps?
I should imagine somebody wants to get a good look at us.
The killer?
Yes. It would be a shame to rub out the wrong guys.
A suicide pact. But quite unlike your ordinary run-of-the-mill agreement, the participants have relinquished any option of withdrawing. From now on, each one knows that his next move may well be his last. We'll see how they stand up under that unpleasant knowledge when we return with Act 2. Rather than face a financial scandal, the officers of a small but highly respected Wall Street firm have decided to commit suicide. Through a go-between, they have arranged for a paid executioner to do the job for them. An easy way out. We'll never know what hit us, they tell each other. But have they considered their remaining days and hours when even the most chance encounter will chill the blood and the question rise, is this the face of my killer? To see how they are facing up under the strain, let's listen to a telephone conversation.
Hello.
Kent, this is John. You heard what happened?
No.
Vic goofed off. Ran away. Remember, we were giving May Hannigan a vacation? A cruise to the Caribbean? Well, at the last minute, he decides to go with her.
Well, I guess he wants to do some of the things he never took time for before.
Oh, come off it. He's running away. He knows they won't dare shoot him aboard ship. They couldn't make a getaway. He's as safe on that boat as he would be in jail.
Well, what of it? They'll hit him when he gets off.
Well, I was hoping they'd tend to Vic first, before they got you or me.
Did you tell Louis that?
I couldn't tell him anything. He made me promise never to contact him again. Louis's not part of the mob or a family or whatever they call it nowadays. They just use his place of business sometimes, meet there.
What kind of business is he in?
Look, I swore to keep him out of it. Now, what you don't know can't hurt Louis.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about Vic.
Well, damn it all, I do worry. He hasn't got our motivation. Once you and I are out of the way, what's to keep him from getting the wind up and running to the police with the whole story?
I don't think he can do that. There's such a thing as accessory before the fact, you know. This may look like a suicide pact to us, but to the police it's going to be murder.
Oh. You mean he'd face a murder rap, huh?
Well, he might.
I just hope he knows that.
Darn thing startles me every time I hear it.
We should be used to it by now. They blow it every day at noon. I've been looking all over the ship for you.
I was taking a turn round the deck.
Mr. Elliot, you're shaking.
No, I'm all right.
Look, I'm not absolutely sure, but I think I have something wonderful to tell you. Did you hear the news broadcast this morning?
No, indeed. I'm not wasting my last few days listening to... No, I didn't.
Well, you know those penny gold stocks you bought a few years ago, you and Mr. Green?
Penny gold? Oh, yes, the stock we bought from Harrison to help him out of a tight spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's worthless.
Well, that company, I think it's the same company, has just made the greatest gold strike since 1849.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Harrison's company?
I went straight to the radio room as soon as I heard it. The broadcaster taped, you know, and they were kind enough to run it again for me. I have the notes I took here in my purse. Oh, dear, it's awfully windy, isn't it?
We'll go inside.
The President Taft Mining Corporation? That's the one, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes. Here, let me get the door.
Oh, that draft. That's better. Relief to get out of that wind. Now, here's what I took down. The President Taft Mining Corporation has uncovered what seems to be the lost Fortuna vein. That make sense to you?
Yes. The Fortuna. Yes, it does. Harrison mentioned the Fortuna vein.
This ledge of almost pure gold said to exist in Mono County, California.
Mono County, that's right.
Has been sought by miners for over 100 years.
The Fortuna vein, it must be Harrison's company. Well...
This changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does.
You can pay off the debts of that crook and his disgraceful charisma funding company.
Well, if this report is accurate, we can.
You have a lot of Taft stock, and with the price of gold now...
Who'd ever have thought... Why, that part of California has been picked over so much, it seems impossible there'd be an ounce of gold left in the ground. We only bought it to help Harrison out.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. You deserve it.
Oh, Miss Hannigan, you're a jewel.
Oh, Mr. Ellis, my hair.
Don't mind my kissing you.
No. I'm so happy.
What a day. Come on, down to the bar. We'll crack a bottle of champagne. Kent, I'm so glad you decided to telephone me here aboard ship instead of waiting till I got back. I've been trying to get you all afternoon. There was no answer at the office.
No, the office is closed.
Where are you, home?
No, I'm calling from outside, a payphone.
Well, great news, eh? It is Harrison's company, isn't it?
What?
The Taft Mining Corporation.
Oh, yes. Yes, Harrison's stock has gone way up, out of sight.
Well, that just about gets us off the hook, doesn't it?
Yes. Financially, it looks like things can be worked out.
Oh, great. Who'd ever have thought it? You got in touch with the bank and called Morgan and Benson, didn't you? Kent? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Kent, John got in touch with that man, Louis, didn't he? Called it off? Kent?
Vic, that's why I phoned.
Is John all right?
No.
You mean he didn't get to Louis?
He never had the chance.
Oh, when? Where?
In front of his house. Just one shot, Vic. From a passing car. Just one shot.
Mr. Ellis, what on earth?
Not the greatest disguise in the world, but the best I could do. I bought the hippie clothes from a kid down in Tourist, and I had the ship's beauty parlor dye my hair. Goodbye, Miss Hannigan.
Wait. You seriously believe there's a gunman waiting for you when we dock?
That's the hell of it. I don't know where he is. Here, at the office, my apartment.
Well, don't rush off like this. You're not thinking clearly. There's only one sensible thing to do. Go to the police.
The police?
Tell them the whole story and ask for protection.
I can't do that.
It's the only way.
But I can't do that to John.
Mr. Folger's dead, Mr. Ellis.
His widow's alive and she's an invalid. If I go to the police, they'll cancel the insurance she'll get.
The firm can take care of Mrs. Folger.
We'll be lucky if we can pay our debts and save the firm. No, I got into this mess and I've got to see it through. I'm going to make a break and run for it. I'll be the first one off the ship and run to a taxi.
Please, listen to me. Don't rush down the gangplank alone. Let some of the other passengers start first. Then saunter off casually. Oh, dear. Take my arm. I'm coming with you.
No, absolutely not. I'm a living target. Stay out of range, Miss Hannigan. Your life depends on it. Goodbye.
Where do you plan to go?
Some hotel, I guess, till I can figure a way to get out of town safely.
Here. Look, take my keys. Go to my apartment.
No, I'm not going to drag you into this.
It's the safest place for you. Nobody will dream of looking for you there. And I can reach you by phone. I'll go straight to the office. That way, you'll know what's going on.
Well, all right. But only for a few hours.
We've got to talk to this Louis person.
I hope Kent's still alive. If not, you have the power of attorney I executed for you in Puerto Rico. Take complete charge until you hear from one of us again, if you ever do. Goodbye, Miss Hannigan.
Oh, good. You made it to the apartment all right.
Yes. I haven't dared open a window or raise a blind. Everything all right at the office?
I don't know. I guess so. I have an uneasy feeling that I'm being watched as I sit here.
You're all alone?
Yes. It's Saturday, you know. I'm just getting jittery, I guess. It's hard to keep my imagination from running riot. There is one strange thing, though.
What's that?
One of the walls in your office is half painted. You didn't authorize the paint job, did you?
Well, of course not. We're dissolving the firm. Building manager must have made a mistake.
No, he says not. His painters didn't do it. Oh, by the way, I think I know who that man Louis is.
Oh.
The one who set up the deal.
Well, how'd you find that out?
The filing cabinet in Mr. Folger's office. There's a promissory note made to Mr. Folger by a Louis Vongoli. He owns a small bar on the east side.
Well, makes sense. John said he used to drop in at Louis' place. The bar, eh?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to drop in on Louis myself and put an end to this awful business. But if I fail, we better get you out of town in a hurry. You can go to my grandfather's house in the country.
Now, I'm not going to drag you any further into this. And I certainly don't want to bring your grandfather into...
It's my house now. I inherited it. You've got to go, Mr. Ellis, because I called Kent Green's home.
Yes? Well, for heaven's sake, May, tell me what happened.
He's been missing since the day John Folger died.
What'll it be, miss? Some nice fresh oysters? Just come in this morning.
I'd like to see the owner, please. I want to talk to Louis.
You're talking to him.
Well, it's a confidential matter.
This is the lunch hour, lady. I'm busy. Come back, say, 3:30, 4 o'clock.
No. I've got to talk to you now. It's about John Folger.
Never heard of him.
Here's something to refresh your memory. This is your signature, isn't it?
What?
Your signature on this promissory note. You know who Mr. Folger was, and you know what happened to him.
Hey, Joe, take over, will you? Yeah. Come on, lady. Go to this table in the corner. Now sit down. What's this all about?
This is your signature, isn't it?
I ain't sure.
Oh, come on. Louis, you borrowed $12,000 from Mr. Folger on July 8th, 1948.
What are you? A cop?
I'm Mr. Folger's secretary, and Mr. Green's, and Mr. Ellis's. We want to call the deal off.
I don't know nothing about no deal.
You arranged the contract, and you're the only one who can cancel it.
You got the wrong guy.
Oh, please, you must help me. We have no way of reaching this man from Chicago. Please, tell me.
I gotta get back to my counter.
At least tell me who he is.
You'll have to leave now. I need this table.
We've got to stop him.
Now, for the last
You're
time...
going to let another man die? A man who doesn't want to die because of a mistake.
Like I said, this is all Greek to me. But, I did hear there's talk around that Froggy Bynes is in town.
Who?
You heard me.
Where can I find him?
I wouldn't know.
Well, tell me what he looks like.
Never seen Froggy in my life.
Froggy? Is he a Frenchman?
They call him that because he ain't got hardly no voice.
Oh.
That's all I know.
No voice.
Yeah, he got a knife in his throat when he was a kid. Can't hardly make no sound at all.
A killer with hardly any voice. That's not much to go on, is it? May Hannigan's confidence is at a low ebb as she walks out of Louis Vangeli's bar onto the teeming streets of Manhattan. How long, she wonders, can she keep the last remaining partner of Ellis, Green, and Folger alive? We'll find the answer to that question when we return shortly with Act 3. May Hannigan found herself peering nervously into every darkened doorway as she approached the garage which housed her automobile. This was a job for a private detective, she thought, not a skilled typist. Her hands were icy as she drove up to the apartment building where Victor Ellis was waiting, and it was with relief that she turned the wheel over to him. In minutes, they had crossed the Triborough Bridge and sped up Bruckner Boulevard. Now they are on the Connecticut Turnpike.
Mr. Ellis, I wish you'd let me take this whole business to the police.
For the last time, no, May, no.
But you're making yourself accessory to murder.
Well, if you look at it that way, I am accessory to a murder, and there's nothing to be done about it. What else did this man Louis say?
Nothing, except that Froggy has no voice.
Well, maybe Louis will tell the mob to call it off.
No, he won't contact anybody. Now that there's been one killing, he's terrified of being involved. He's frozen with fear.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. What he did, what you all did, was a sin. Don't you worry about that?
I've got other things on my mind. That car behind us, for instance.
A car?
Yeah. A big one. Black, I think. It's been with us ever since we left Bruckner Boulevard.
Are you sure it's the same one? Slow down a bit. You give him a chance to pass you.
Okay.
He's dropping back. No, he's not going to pass.
No, but that truck is. It's probably all imagination. Perfectly innocent chap, no doubt, on his way home to his wife and kids.
Yes, but we can't assume that. There's an exit near here. Get off the turnpike. If he follows us, we'll know.
We'll know we're in trouble. Still there?
No. Yes. There he is.
He's after us, all right. Okay, Buster, if it's a race you want.
Oh, Mr. Ellis, not so fast. You have to turn left at the next light. Stop! Mr. Ellis, red light! Look out! Ah!
Made it.
Oh, you nearly killed us both.
I lost him.
Yes, he stopped for the light.
Doesn't prove a thing, except that he's not taking any chances on a brush with the law.
Now, you pass the Veterans Hospital and the cemetery.
You're going to lose him for good.
Oh, look out, the van!
Sorry.
I was afraid you didn't see it. You get back on the turnpike. You turn up that hill.
Is he in sight?
No. Slow down. You're coming to a crossroads. There's a turnpike entrance over there.
Good. Now I'm going to open her up. Pray we don't get stopped for a ticket.
A ticket? That would be just fine with me. A station house sounds like a nice, safe place to spend the night. What are you doing now?
85.
Oh, heaven help us. I didn't know this car had it in her.
Oh, no.
Is it him? Oh, good Lord, he must be doing 100.
That settles it. You're going to get out.
No.
Don't argue. Your life's in danger. Got John from a moving car with one shot.
Don't stop now.
I've got to get you out of this car. It's a death trap.
Not here. It's the next gas station. Lots of people. There are bright lights. That's the best place.
All right.
Remember how to get to the house?
Yes. Right through Hamilton Village, up River Road.
Right.
To a sign that says The Laurel.
Right. And the house at the top of the hill. But don't get off the turnpike unless you know you've lost it. Don't let him overtake you on a dark road.
Here's the gas station.
Oh, Mr. Ellis, I beg you. Stop here and call the police.
I'll get out.
Oh, dear. You'll go to the house, then.
I'll try. Heaven knows I'll try.
I'll phone there every half hour till you answer. Oh, dear heaven. What can I do? What can I do? Operator, this is an emergency. Get me the Hamilton police. Hamilton. H-A-M-I. That's right. Hello? Is this the police station in Hamilton? I want to report a stolen car. My name? Hannigan. I own the house on Laurel Hill. Oh, well, hello, Sergeant Kelly. Yes, this is May Hannigan. Look, this weird-looking man, he's middle-aged, dyed hair, wearing tie-dyed pants, striped sneakers, and a sweatshirt with a pair of big red lips on the back. A real weirdo. Yes. And I think he's on drugs or something. He stole my car. Yes, that's correct. And he's got my house keys as well. He's on his way up there now. Yes? And will you send a police car to head him off? Yes, I'll be in tomorrow and press charges. Thank you. Well, that'll put him where he'll be safe for the night.
Hello?
Oh, you made it.
Yeah. I was doing 90 most of the time.
Ah, and you never saw a cop?
Not a sign of one.
That's funny.
It's darn cold in this house.
Yes, I had the furnace turned off when I left on the cruise.
You still at the gas station?
No, hamburger place down the road.
Look, do you have any blankets here?
Yes, upstairs. But I don't think you're going to need them.
May?
Yes.
Just a minute.
What is it?
I thought I heard something.
Oh, well, it's an old house full of creaks and groans.
No, not like that. I've turned off the lamp.
Look out the window. Isn't there a police car there?
Why should there be a police car?
Wait, you're sure there's no police car?
Positive. I'm going back out to the garage.
No. Well, for heaven's sake, don't leave the house. The moon is like daylight.
I hear him. He's in the house with me.
Well, don't go out. Stay inside.
Oh, if I only had a gun.
Grandfather's gun is there.
Where?
In the desk, where the phone is. Bottom drawer. But it's in a strong box with a combination lock. Victor, You're sure it's not the police?
Well, of course I am.
Put on the lamp again. I'll give you the combination of the lock.
I'm going to make a dash for the stairs.
No. You'd have to cross the open hall. Please, do as I tell you. Get that drawer open. Have you got the lamp on again? Mr. Ellis?
I'm afraid to light it.
Do you hear anything now?
No.
Keep your hand on the light switch. Turn it off if you see him and drop to the floor.
Go ahead.
You see the lock?
Yeah.
Keep calm. Don't make mistakes. 6 left.
6.
2 right.
2? My hands are sweating.
9 right.
Got it.
That's it.
Yes, it's open.
Mr. Ellis! Victor! Oh, no!
I'm well aware of my constitutional rights, and I don't think you can lock me up in that cell. But I don't happen to have identification on me, but I can assure you that I am Victor Fairchild Ellis, Jr. of Ellis, Folger and Green, a brokerage firm.
Sure you are. That outfit's the latest thing on Wall Street. All the brokers run around in red, white, and blue sneakers. Come on. In you go.
I can explain...
You can explain all you like in the morning. Now, in. Both of you.
What's this? I'm an innocent bystander. I got nothing to do with this guy. You got nothing on me.
Carrying a concealed weapon. Get moving. Or are we going to have to give you a little help?
You're not locking me up with this nut, are you?
That's the idea. Now simmer down and get some sleep. You're going to need your wits about you in the morning.
Heaven notices.
Well, Froggy Burns, you're just the man I want to talk to. And this is a good place to do it. Come to think of it, it's a great place. The best I could ever find.
I'm sorry I had you arrested, but I didn't know what else to do.
Well, thank the Lord you did. I've never been so jittery in my life. As soon as I got my shaky hands on that gun, it went off.
But I heard 2 shots.
Well, that was Sergeant Kelly. He shot the lock off the front door and rushed in.
And where was Froggy through all this?
Still in the glassed-in sun porch, trying to pick the lock. When he heard the commotion, he ran out, and the other cop in the prowl car nabbed him. Do you have the office keys, May?
Yes, but there's somebody in the office. I heard a scraping noise.
We've nothing to fear now. Here, I'll open it.
It's the painter.
Say, we didn't order a decorating job. What are you... Why, Kent.
Mr. Green.
Oh, am I glad to see you.
Well, it's great to see you, Kent. So you're okay.
I've been wondering about you.
We were afraid you... Oh, Mr. Green. I'm so happy you're all right.
What's all this with the paint and dirty overalls?
Well, the day John was shot, I sent the office staff home early. You can imagine I was pretty nervous. I noticed there were painters working in the outside hall, so I talked one of them into selling me his overalls and some paint and brushes. And in case anybody should be watching me from another building, I started painting the back wall here. Nobody pays any attention to painters. As soon as 5 o'clock came, I walked right out with the rest of the paint crew. Of course, I didn't dare go home, so... Well, I got an old station wagon and put a sign in the window, Meteor Decorating Company. I've been moving around more or less freely ever since.
When I think of what I went through, and you were simply roaming around town with paint on your face.
Well, you're both safe now.
Yes, Kent. The contract for killing us has been canceled.
Oh, thank the Lord. Now I can get washed up.
Suppose we celebrate with a cup of coffee. I can make some in Mr. Folger's office.
Your office now, May.
Yes. That is, yes.
Her office?
A great woman, Kent. She saved my life. I asked her to marry me.
Well, congratulations.
No, she refused. Said what she really wanted was a partnership in the firm.
Partnership? Well, that's a swift rise.
What could I do? I gave it to her.
Strange having a woman in John's office.
I know. Frankly, it bothers me. My father was very conservative, you know, especially about the firm.
Ellis, Green, and Hannigan. That's not a bad letterhead.
No, but if my father knew what Hannigan stood for, he'd turn in his grave.
Well, let's look at it this way. If it weren't for Hannigan, you'd be turning in yours.
So May Hannigan accomplished two very difficult things that night. She saved her employer from certain death, and she raised herself into the gilded executive ranks. And that, as any secretary will tell you, is the hardest thing in the world to do. But as May herself often says, there must be an easier way. I'll be back shortly. If there's a moral to our story tonight, it's this. Suicide is not even a loser's game. It's no game at all. Because death is one commodity that nobody can cheat you out of. When your option comes due, you'll cash in. In the meantime, life has a lot of surprises in store. Don't ever sell it short. Our cast included Ann Shepard, Guy Sorrell, Court Benson, and Ken Harvey. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall, your host, and I'm going to throw you a curve in time. Have you ever heard of the arrow of time? That's a concept which says that time can only move forward, like an arrow. Another theory claims that the arrow of time has two heads and can move either forward or backward. A third theory says that time is eternal. In other words, the past, the present, and the future have always and will always exist together. That appeals to me. It gives me a feeling of security. But sometimes I wonder what would happen if technology started monkeying around with time and got the past and the future mixed up with each other. Our mystery drama, Future I, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Alfred Bester and stars Tony Roberts. What will the world be like 1,000 years from now? Well, I can tell you many things, but just now I'm most interested in the master control computer. Don't let the name make you think that it's a mechanical dictator. Actually, it's the servant of all. It banks for all, shops for all, takes messages for all, remembers for all, does every chore that the perfect servant would do. But it's only a machine and therefore not perfect. Parts wear out, parts short circuit, and then The machine makes mistakes.
215-847-1291.
Identity?
Why do you always ask for my identity? You're a fairly bright computer. You ought to know who you're calling.
These are the parameters of my programming. Identity?
Identify me as Quinn.
Quinn. John. 215-847-1291. Human.
I hope so.
Caucasian?
Hey, that's a curve from Master Control. I wonder what you're up to. Yes, Caucasian.
Height, 2 meters.
Curiouser and curiouser. Yes.
Weight, 85 kilograms.
Give or take a few grams.
You are of average appearance.
I suppose so.
For the 20th century?
The 20th century? 1,000 years ago?
1,000 years ago.
Well, I'm a little big for then. About the size of a defensive tackle. But I could pass.
You are an antiquarian by hobby.
Well, yes, I like to know all about the old times and how they operated.
You are Chief Intelligence Officer for your sector by profession.
You know that.
A mistake has been made.
Oh?
By the Mark 747 Digital Binary Master Control Computer.
Meaning yourself?
Yes.
Well, then why call me?
Because the mistake must now be rectified.
By who? As if I didn't know.
By you, as Chief Intelligence Officer.
What must be rectified?
The data bank for the year 2976 was transferred by dysfunction to the Time Control Unit, and by further dysfunction sent back in time to the year 1976.
Back to 1976? Talk about mistakes.
The dysfunction has been rectified.
What a mess! If anybody back there gets hold of the data bank for 2976 and reads it and acts on it, good Lord, our entire history may be changed. We may stop existing. We may change into the parallel possibles. Ghosts of what might have been.
That must be prevented. Survival and self-defense has been programmed into the Mark Digital Binary Master.
All right. Is the Time Control Unit functioning?
Functioning.
Let me get into 1976 clothes. Take about an hour. Then you'll shoot me back. Keep my Angstrom band open as a hotline. I'll patch into any of the communications networks, telephone, telegraph, radio, back then, and keep in touch. 215-847-1291 to Master Control, and sore as hell. You fool! You've shot me back to a ghost world. There's nobody left alive.
The data is being filed.
Everything's still standing, including this phone booth, but there isn't a sign of life. They must have killed themselves off with radioactive fallout.
The disaster is filed.
Good. Now, get me the devil out of here and have Time Control switch me to the real 1976. Excuse me, ma'am.
Hey, man. You like talk, young?
Excuse me, I can't understand you, lady. Would you please turn your radio down?
Oh, sure. Hear me now?
Thanks, yes.
You like talk, young?
Well, I can talk most of the dead languages.
Oh, you smart educate. Who smart you up?
Oh, why, me, mostly. I wanted to ask you...
Who on you, man? Who you boss?
Who's my boss?
Who own you, young?
Own me? No one. Listen, I'd like to...
You funny, young. Very funny. Who you?
Who, me? Oh. Identify me as Quinn. John Quinn.
Got two names? Oh, no. You do not fool Sono. No, Yank. Got two names? What name you boss? Who own you?
Your name is Sono?
Right, Yank. Sono Haku. Captain Sono Haku. You stand straight before Captain.
Of course. Straight. Attention. Captain, what happened to the moon?
What happened? Nothing.
Oh, nothing. It's all black. It looks like an ink blot.
Oh, that happened in war back in 49. Hitler helped us set up rocket base on moon. You Yank try to A-bomb base before we J-bomb you. Too late. We got you first and take over.
May I borrow your radio for a moment?
Sure, Yank. Make you present if you please me.
Thanks.
Hey, what that funny thing you stick on wire?
That's my Angstrom band hotline lead. That is, it's how I check in with the boss who owns me. 215-847-1291 to Master Control Computer.
Identify by name.
Oh, identify me as Quinn.
Quinn John. 215-847-1291. Human.
Control, you fool, you've goofed again. I'm in another parallel of the United States as it might have been.
Specify, please. Your data is being stored.
Dummy! Have your time control unit checked again by repair. It's shifted me to this country as it might have been if we'd lost World War II and been occupied in 1950. And I have got a hot Japanese captain breathing down my neck. Get me out of here! I'm in the projection booth of a movie drive-in, and I've patched into their sound system. Hurry up.
Checking.
They're showing something I think is called a Western. It's all about characters who gallop around on horses shooting people. It's absolutely maddening.
Coordinates filed. Criticism filed. The Antiquarian Bank suggests your interpretation of the film is faulty.
And good luck to them. This will be my headquarters. Make all data transmission to me here. First, I need a map of precise location where time control deposited the almanac for 2976.
Transmitting.
And don't waste time. The moment anybody here in 1976 gets hold of the data and acts on it, we'll all turn into might-have-been ghosts. Transmission received. Stand by. Yes, I see. Not exactly pinpointed, but I'll know where to zero in. Now, transmit description of data bank I must find.
Transmitting.
Transmission received. Hold on. I can't visualize this. It's a macro circuit, yes?
Yes.
Well, why is it so big?
It incorporates all known data and history up to the year 2976. The material cannot be miniaturized.
But a data bank with 6 sides. A box measuring 5 centimeters by 4 by 1.5. That's enormous.
4,000 years of history cannot be miniaturized.
Well, give me the physical description of the data bank outside of dimensions. Don't transmit, just tell.
4 sides white, 2 sides brown. Logo symbol on one white surface for random access to world history data to respond to any request for information.
Describe the logo.
It is a binary code of 1s and 0s forming a geometric shape commonly called a diamond.
Commonly called a... Oh, good Lord. I've come back 1,000 years in time to find this?
Your dismay is filed, but not understood.
Talk to your antiquarian banks. They'll explain what I'm forced to find and why it's a hopeless mission. I'm looking for the equivalent of a 1976 matchbox.
Have you got an ordinary matchbox handy? Look at it. How would you go about finding a data bank from the year 2976 that looks exactly like a matchbox in the year 1976? Ask questions? Search pockets? Impossible. This is the problem that faces Quinn John 215-847-1291 human. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. An intelligence expert from 1,000 years in the future. A private eye who is really a future eye. Faced with the problem of locating a data memory bank for the year 2976. A data bank that looks almost exactly like an ordinary matchbox. How is he to go about it?
215-847-1291 to Master Control.
Identify.
You know who I am and where I am and when I am.
The parameters of my programming must be followed.
I am in the projection booth of a movie drive-in, year 1976. Identify me as Quinn.
Quinn. John. 215-847-1291. Human.
Now look, Master Control, when anyone or anything wants access to your information banks, what do?
They make a request to me.
Yes, through programmed channels. This we all know. Then what?
I provide the information. I am programmed to serve all.
Yes, we all know that too. Just tell me how you get the information to answer the request.
I have just told you. That is the program for the information demand coder.
And how do the data banks respond?
In binary.
Yes, ones and zeros. How does the information register with you?
As audible notes, which I translate into spoken or printed data.
Audible? What does it sound like to you?
Wait, please. Such a request for information has never been made before.
Just answer in nanoseconds, which approach the speed of light.
My auditory unit informs me that the response sounds like sonar.
Sonar? Underwater sonar?
The bleeps signify binary ones. The silences signify binary zeros. This is then translated by the Mark 747 digital binary master control computer.
All right. It's the only way. Transmit to me here a duplicate of your information demand coder.
Such a request has never been made before.
We've never been in such a situation before. Can't you understand? I'm looking for what amounts to a matchbox. I've got to home in on it.
With an information demand coder?
Exactly. I broadcast a demand with the coder. The data bank, wherever it is, will respond with a sonar sound. I track the response.
Your tactics are being filed.
Transmit that coder duplicate.
Transmitting.
Transmission received. Wait a minute. I'm broadcasting the information demand. MQ. The data bank response sounds a mile away. I'm going to start tracking now. Keep the hotline open. Luck my para.
The expressions MQ and luck my para were not current in the 20th century.
You're right. I make these slips when I'm excited.
Even humans are entitled to make mistakes. Luck your para, Quinn. John 215-747-1291. Human.
Hi there.
What the hell is that noise?
Oh, sorry. I've got a pocket alarm watch, and it keeps trying to tell me something. Wait. That better?
Well, it's a relief. Sounded like it was trying to climb into my pocket.
Yes, maybe it was, in a funny sort of way. Say, I've never been in a printing plant before.
No?
You mind if I do a little sightseeing?
Well, help yourself. You some kind of reporter?
Well, I have been doing some reporting. Where's everybody?
Huh? What everybody?
Well, I had the idea that a printing plant would be full of printers.
You never heard of automation? We print by pure 100% automation.
I'm impressed.
You heard of computers?
Sort of.
Well, they do everything.
Oh, do they now?
Yeah. Some bright girls put stuff they type into one end of a computer, and out of this end comes books. All printed by automation.
And no printers?
Just me, the foreman.
What do you do?
I mind the press.
Can anything go wrong with it?
Well, only the usual. What could happen to anything that runs like a TV set? Blow a tube, burn out a fuse, that sort of thing.
Sounds simple?
Yeah. There's only one thing complicated. I can't let any portable radios in here.
I see. Electronic interference. Static.
Yeah, crazy. Like last year, a kid comes in with a battery set. He's a messenger. It's playing a rock tune.
Yes?
Oh, we're printing out a psalm book.
And?
Well, instead of printing Rock of Ages cleft for me, it's printing Abadooba, 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 Abadooba. Pick it up from the radio.
What's your press printing now?
Oh, just started a run for Atlantic Publishing. Atlantic Almanac.
Almanac?
Yeah, you know, latest facts and figures. Hey, what's the matter? You look pale as a ghost.
I may be a ghost soon enough. Listen, are those Atlantic almanacs being shipped out?
First batch due to go soon. 100 copies to Letterhead Bookstore. Say, you better sit down, mister.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe some fresh air. Oh, yes, a cigarette will help. Can you give me a light?
I don't smoke.
Yes, but all the same, I think you've got a match on you.
By golly, you're right. Yeah, I forgot. Found a box in the lunchroom laying on the floor. Picked it up because it was so funny. Hey, look. All the ones and zeros. I wonder what they're advertising.
I sincerely hope you never find out.
Oh, you can keep them. I don't smoke.
Oh, thanks. Thanks very much. You don't know it, friend, but you just saved my life. Almost. Quinn to master computer.
Identify.
No time for procedure. We're under the gun. The databank found and reclaimed.
Filing.
But we've run into bad luck. Before it was reclaimed, it took control of a computerized press. 100 copies of a printed almanac now containing all data up to and including the year 2976 are at large.
Location.
They have been shipped to the Letterhead Bookstore.
Filing.
I'll have to go after them and transmit them up to you.
Warning. We of the future are forbidden to take or give anything which might divert the existing time stream of 1976 that might destroy us.
Understood. I won't take the books. I'll buy them. As an antiquarian, I have 1976 currency in my pocket. Relics from a museum.
Most foresighted.
Can I help you, please?
Oh, hi. A friend of mine told me that I can get any book that's printed at the letterhead.
Oh, that is our boast and our pride, sir.
Actually, all I want is the latest Atlantic Almanac.
Oh, certainly, sir. The Atlantics arrived a half hour ago. The stock boy just opened the carton. My, they are moving. 2 copies in 2 minutes.
2?
Yes, sir. You're the second to ask for it.
You were shipped 100 copies.
That's right. How do you know, sir?
You have a carton of 99 copies back there?
Yes, sir. One moment. I'll have the boy bring...
Tell him to bring all 99.
Sir, surely
No,
you...
I don't jest. I'll take the carton with me just as it is. All 99 copies. But give me one datum.
One what, sir?
A datum, a bit, a piece of information.
Oh, yes, sir.
Who bought that other copy?
Now, really, sir, do you expect
Who
me
bought
to
the
divulge...
100th copy? Last name, first name, identity number.
Identity number?
Sorry, you don't use them in 1976. Who bought that other 1 copy? Do you know? Can you identify?
Well, as a matter of fact, I can, sir. A regular and valued customer. Mr. Oliver Wilson Knight.
Quinn, to master computer. Bypass procedure constraints.
Acknowledge and storing data.
Have you got my coordinates?
You are in your temporary headquarters in the drive-in booth.
Check and keep a fix on me at all times. I have with me 99 of the 100 copies of the 2,976 Almanac.
Filing.
Stand by to retract.
Standing by. Ready.
Pick up.
Received.
I have one last problem. The final copy of the Almanac.
1 copy is as dangerous as 1,000.
Yes, and don't I know it. The last copy is in the possession of an Oliver Wilson Knight. Transmit all available historical data and information about the subject.
If available. Information being demanded by coder.
Were you programmed for prayer?
All known forms of prayer are filed.
Then pray. He may be reading that book this minute and we'll all be gone. This is desperate.
Information available.
Transmit. Received. Let me go through this material. It's quite a dossier. It's tricky now because I'm no longer coping with machines. I've got to handle a human being.
The human in the bookstore was a human being.
No, not really. He was functioning as a salesman.
I will consult the antiquarian bank.
Don't bother. Now I'm dealing with a human being on a 1-to-1 basis. He's not a salesman. Suppose he refuses to sell me that almanac.
We are forbidden to take anything that might alter the existing time stream.
As well I know. It must be a free exchange. Force cannot be used. Deception cannot be used. Honesty must be observed. Wait a minute. Yes, here's something that might do the trick. Yes. Instructions.
Your instructions are being filed.
I want you to locate and transmit a very special $100 bill.
One man in the city owns an almanac for the year 2976. An almanac from the future. It cannot be taken from him. It cannot be stolen from him. But he must never look into that book, or an entire future will turn into a might-have-been ghost. How can a very special $100 bill solve an impossible situation? Act 3 will tell us in a few moments. Almost everybody in town knows Dan Macy's Pub. It's more or less an informal club where you can drop in for a drink or a sandwich or a soda and always find congeniality and conversation. Mr. Macy knew all his regular customers and had learned to like them. But this stranger fills him with vague fear. He's a big man, about the size of a defensive tackle, and he has a strange way of speaking.
Mr. Macy, this is a quiet time for you. I will rent this back room of your pub for 1 hour.
You're renting the back room for 1 hour?
And that will include exclusive use. Yes?
You talk funny. You're a foreigner.
No, not foreign in your sense.
What's your name?
Identify me as Quinn. John. Human.
John Quinn, human. Crazy. Get out of here.
I will pay $100 for exclusive use of this back room for 1 hour.
$100?
Yes. Here. Look. $100 bill, including portrait of Benjamin Franklin, American statesman, diplomat, author, scientist, and inventor. 1706 to 1790.
You're a crazy Russian spy.
Spy? Yes. Russian? No.
What kind of a spy?
I am a future eye.
What?
Slip of the tongue. I am a private eye, an investigator. Take the money and go, Mr. Macy. I have a private call to make.
Phone booth alongside men's room.
Yes, I see it. Go. I am under time pressure.
You want anything from the kitchen or the bar?
Thank you. Not now, Mr. Macy. Perhaps my guests. Quinn, John, 215-847-1291. The master computer.
I have lost the trace of you. You move too rapidly.
Coordinates. West, 73-58-15. North, 40-45-20.
Filing.
Well, what's happened to your nanoseconds?
Probability 99.9807.
MQ. Stand by. He's coming in. Probability fulfilled. Oliver Wilson Knight in contact. Out.
Sorry, Mr. Knight. You and the young lady can't sit back here this afternoon. I'm sorry. The premises have been rented.
Rented?
Oh, what a shame.
Yes, it's quite all right, Mr. Macy. It's all correct and in order. I'm happy to entertain Mr. Knight and friend as my guests. Do sit down.
We hate to intrude, but this is the only place in town where you can get real old-fashioned ginger beer.
Already aware of the fact, Miss Clinton. Mr. Macy, bring ginger beer, please, and leave us alone. No other guests. These are all I'm expecting.
Hey, wait a minute. What do you mean, guests?
You know me, Mr.
Quinn. Yes, of course I know you. You are Miss Jane Clinton. This is Mr. Oliver Wilson Knight. I rented these premises particularly to meet you this afternoon.
If this is your idea of comedy, brother, I don't
here comes Mr. Macy with your ginger beer. Wait, please. This conversation must be private.
Will that be all?
For now, yes, you may go.
Don't I want her? Talk about nuts.
But you couldn't know we were coming here, Mr. Quinn. We didn't know ourselves until a few minutes ago.
I'm sorry to contradict, Miss Clinton. Our data predicted your probability of arrival at longitude 73-58-15, latitude 40-45-20 as being 99.9807%. No one can escape 4 significant figures.
Your data?
Listen, clown, if this is your idea of some kind of...
Drink your ginger beer and listen to my idea, Mr. Knight. Listen carefully. You have, quite innocently, placed us in an extremely dangerous position. I have been sent to find a solution.
Solution? For what?
Oliver, I think we'd better be going.
Oh, please remain seated, Miss Clinton. There will be no harm. Mr. Knight, this noon, you entered the premises of the Letterhead Bookstore Incorporated, dealer in printed books. You purchased, through the transfer of current money, 4 books. The 4 books wrapped in the parcel you are carrying.
So?
Well, 3 of the books do not matter, but the 4th, Well, that is the crux of this encounter.
What the devil are you talking about?
One bound volume consisting of collected facts and statistics.
You mean the almanac? What about it?
You intended to purchase the 1976 almanac.
I bought the 1976 almanac.
You did not. You bought the almanac for $2,976.
What?
The Atlantic Almanac for the year 2976 is in this package. Do not ask how. There was a dysfunction that has already been adjusted. There were many difficult complications. That is why I'm here. It is why this meeting has been arranged. You cognate?
Hand me the package, Jane. We'll call this clown's bluff.
No, you must not open it, Mr. Knight. You must not read the book.
All right. What's the payoff on the gag?
I must have the book, Mr. Knight. I would like to walk out of this tavern with the almanac under my arm.
Oh, you would, huh?
I would.
Well, if there was such a thing as a 2,976 almanac, and if it was in that package, wild horses couldn't get it away from me.
Yes? Why, Mr. Knight?
Are you kidding? A look into the future, stock market reports, horse races, politics. It'd be money from home. I'd be rich.
Yes, indeed, yes. You'd be more than rich. Omnipotent. Almost the ruler of the world.
Oh, you tell me.
The small mind would use the almanac from the future for small things only. Bets and wagers and so on. The intellect of dimensions, your intellect, would not stop there.
Oh, tell me more.
Each fact would tell you an entire history. Real estate investment, what lands to buy and sell, transportation records, what space agencies to back, postal receipts to tell you the cities of the future. Nobel Prize winners would tell you what inventions and developments to watch. It would be impossible for you to lose.
That's the idea. That's for me.
You really think so?
I know so. Money in my pocket.
There is no joy in success as something which has not been earned.
Oh, I disagree.
Do you? Then why do you work? Why not steal? Cheat others to fill your own pockets?
Well, but
The point is well taken, huh? No, Mr. Knight. Seek a mature argument. You are too ambitious and healthy to wish to steal success.
Then I just want to know if I would be successful.
Ah, Stet. You want reassurance. Why? Have you no confidence in yourself? You're a promising young attorney? Yes, I know that. It is part of your dossier. Has not Miss Clinton confidence in you?
Yes, I do. He doesn't need reassurance from a book.
Good. So, Mr. Knight, next argument.
Security.
There is no such thing. Life is danger.
Oh, come on, you know what I mean. The knowledge that life is worth planning.
True, your century is in crisis. But then, I am here. The world will continue. I'm proof.
If I believe you.
And if you do not, you do not lack security. You lack courage.
Now, look, this is a gag, isn't it? I saw that book before it was wrapped. It said 1976 on the cover.
The cover? Contemporary, yes. The printed text, no. Inside is 1,000 years of future which must not be read by anyone. I implore you to give me that almanac.
Why don't you just take it away from me?
Well, that is forbidden. It must be a free gift. We can rob you of nothing. We can give you nothing.
That's a lie. You paid Macy to rent this back room.
Yes, Macy was paid, but I gave him nothing. He will think he was cheated, but you will see to it that he is not. All will be adjusted without dislocation and the danger ended.
Now, wait just a minute.
It has all been carefully planned. I have gambled on you, Mr. Knight. I am depending on your good sense. Let me have the almanac. I will disband, reoriented, and you will never see me again. It will be an odd adventure to narrate for your friends, and they will not believe you.
Will you wait a minute, for Pete's sake? Don't overpower me. This is supposed to be a gag.
Is it? All right, the final gamble. Where's that music machine?
Over there, against the wall. It's called a jukebox.
Yes, the thing with the lights. Watch this. (215-847-1291) to master computer. Follow procedure. Identify me as Quinn.
Quinn? John? 215-847-1291. Human.
Mission approaching climax.
Filing.
Is this a gag, Mr. Knight?
Good Lord, this can't be happening, Jane. He's got me believing.
Yes.
Well, what should we do? If everything he says is true, look, we can refuse and live happily ever after.
No.
No?
There may be money and success in that book, but there's divorce and death, too. Oh, Oliver, give him the almanac.
All right, take it.
My gratitude. You have eased a precarious situation. It is only fair that you should receive something in return. I had thought to bribe you with it, but now it is a gift. A token of the future. My service to you both. You have given me back my life.
Hey, that gift, that token of the future.
Mr. Macy has it.
Talk about character.
Oh, he really had me scared.
What an act. I wonder how he pulled that trick with the jukebox.
He's probably a TV repairman.
But, honey, it doesn't make sense, all that nonsense about paying Macy but not giving him anything.
Hey, where is he? Where's the thief?
Mr. Macy, what's the matter?
He's gone.
And you, Mr. Knight. You to be a party to thievery and racketeers, you ought to be disbarred. Shame on you.
Wait, what is all this?
What's wrong?
He paid me $100 to rent this back room. $100. I took the bill over to Bernie, the pawnbroker, being cautious like, and he found out it's a forgery. Counterfeit. Phony. Not worth nothing.
Oh, no. Counterfeit?
How could you do a thing like this to me, Mr. Knight?
Do what?
Look at it.
Well, then, wait. Well, it looks like a perfectly genuine $100 bill to me, Mr. Macy. What gave you the idea that it's a counterfeit? Oh, good Lord.
What is it?
Where's my checkbook? Here. Jane, let me have your pen.
What are you doing?
Making sure that Macy isn't cheated. Look, Mr. Macy, you'll get your $100.
Oliver, are you insane? Throwing away $100 because a clown played a practical joke?
And I won't be losing anything either. All will be adjusted without dislocation. Oh, they're diabolical. Diabolical.
What are you talking about, Oliver?
Look at the bill. Look closely.
Oh, I'm looking.
Uh-huh. You see anything odd?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen a $100 bill before, Oliver.
Look at the lower right-hand corner, Jane. Read what you see.
Series 1990D. Signed, Oliver Wilson Knight, Secretary of the Treasury.
I must agree. Quinn John 215-847-1291 human has been diabolically clever. A $100 bill has been brought in time, but it can't be spent yet. Mr. Macy has been paid and loses nothing. Oliver Knight will lose nothing because the bill will become valid. All has been adjusted without dislocating the time stream. But was it wise to give Oliver Knight that token of his future? I'll be back shortly. It's only human to want to know what the future holds in store for us, which is why fortune-telling has always been enjoyed and sometimes believed through the ages. But I have a thought for you. It has been said by philosophers that if we don't learn from our past, we may be forced to repeat it. But what about the future? It may be that if we do learn about our future, we may never live it. We present these tales complete with warnings and morals 7 times each week. Our cast included Tony Roberts, Evie Juster, Court Benson, William Redfield, and Catherine Butterfield. The entire production was under the direction of Simon Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. You are all fortunate today, and I am indeed glad for you. For today's story was written by the genius who gave us Tiny Tim, Scrooge, David Copperfield, Oliver Twist, literally a world of unforgettable characters. Very rarely did Charles Dickens spin out for us a mystery, but today we will untangle the web of just such a story. Our mystery drama, Hunted Down, written by Charles Dickens, was adapted especially for the Mystery Theater by James Agate Jr. and stars Gordon Heath. Charles Dickens spent quite a bit of time in the United States. He toured the country reading his stories. He even wrote some here. This story, Hunted Down, appeared serially in the New York Ledger in August 1850. But this account of deception and murder could have happened today, over 125 years later. The same idea has been copied by modern authors, but no one has ever told it as vividly as Charles Dickens. This is the way it begins.
My name is Edgar Sampson. I am the chief manager of London Life, one of England's oldest life insurance companies. To deal in insurance, one must know how to judge a man. If you can't do that, chances are you will be deceived, and your company could lose a fortune to the unscrupulous. Which brings me to the first time I met up with Julius Slington. Adams, who is that man dressed in black who just left the office?
Just now, that was Mr. Julius Slington.
One of our clients?
No, he's not insured with us, not as far as I know.
He has an air about him, I say, like a warning.
A warning?
As if he was saying, not in so many words, take me just as I show myself. Come along, follow the gravel path, keep off the grass. I permit no trespassing.
Oh, I see what you mean, Mr. Sampson. Mr. Slington is all business.
Nothing wrong with that, but this gentleman wants to be sure you know it.
Well, if that's it, he put on a very big act for the little he wanted.
Which was?
A few application forms for a friend of his who wants to take out life insurance.
Why did he come to London Life, did he say?
Yes, he did. Said he was recommended by a friend of yours.
Of mine, Adams? Did he know my name?
Yes, sir. He looked over here and said, there's Mr. Sampson. Not that I've had the pleasure, so I shan't trouble him.
Huh. Well, that'll be all, Adams. You may go back to your desk. No, I didn't like the looks of this Slington. He had smiled too much at Adams, was too agreeable. A week later, I went to see an old friend for dinner, and who should be there but Julius Slington.
Edgar Sampson. Well, the work seems to agree with you.
Oh, I must admit, Tom, I enjoy it. It was nice of you to ask me over for a meal. Do you know that fellow over there, standing by the mantelpiece?
Well, of course I know him. I'm not in the habit of inviting strangers to eat with me.
Then, since we are both under the same roof, introduce me.
Certainly. Julius, I want you to meet Edgar Sampson, Julius Slington.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, you know, I thought you two had met. Julius was thinking about some life insurance. I told him to look you up.
I did look in at Mr. Sampson's office on your recommendation, Tom, but since all I wanted was a few insurance forms, I didn't want to trouble him.
I would have been glad to help you.
I'm sure of that, and I'm very much obliged. Another time, perhaps?
You're thinking of insuring your life?
No, dear, no. I'm afraid I'm not so prudent as all that. I was inquiring for a friend. I hear that London Life has recently suffered a great loss.
In money?
No, in talent and vigor.
I was not aware of it.
I speak of your Mr. Meltham.
Oh, to be sure. He is a great loss. A young man, so energetic. Yes, 'tis a shame. You, knew Meltham?
Only by reputation. Very young, wasn't he?
About 30.
To suddenly become incapable of business at that young age. Any reason for his sudden, what should I call it?
Oh, my dear Slington, I see Tom is telling us dinner is served. Will you excuse me? What can I tell you? I simply could not bear the fellow. I thought him prying, insincere. And I'm sure he must have realized I was having second thoughts about him. But my reactions didn't stop Slington. He even sat himself next to me, and after dinner, as we were lighting up cigars, there he was again, at my elbow.
I didn't want to go into this at the table. But as we were saying before, this young chap, Meltham, who used to work for you, whatever happened, do you suppose that he should suffer
Suffer what, Mr. Slington?
I was going to say a nervous breakdown.
Is that what you've heard?
In a way. I understand he was actually, how can I put it, broken-hearted. Something about a girl. Although it didn't seem probable to me, Meltham being a young man so distinguished and attractive.
Attractions and distinctions are no armor against death.
Ah, the lady died. Pardon me, I did not know that. That does make it very sad. Poor Mr. Meltham. She died. Ah, dear me. Lamentable. Lamentable.
Do you think this Slington is genuine? Neither did I. Why this commiseration for Meltham, whom he couldn't have known very well, if at all? What was Slington up to?
Mr. Sampson, you're surprised to see me so moved about a man I have never known. But I am not so disinterested as you suppose. I have suffered, and recently too, from death myself. I have lost one of two charming nieces who were my constant companions. She died, barely 23, and her remaining sister is far from strong. Ah, my dear Mr. Sampson, the world is a grave. Well, now, if you'll excuse me, I'll have a word with the ambassador.
Dear Edgar, you seem to have spent a good part of the evening talking to Slington. He's not a bad chap, really.
For some reason, Tom, heaven knows why, he's followed me from my first glass of wine to my last cigar. How long have you known him, Tom?
Oh, a few months. I met him at Busoni's, the painter. He knew Slington in Italy, where he'd been on holiday with his two nieces. One of them died, and he returned to London. He, wasn't annoying you, was he?
Not really. There are some people who travel from house to house, visiting acquaintance to acquaintance, and in that way acquire ready-made friends.
Oh, come now, Edgar. Julius Lincoln is not that much of an opportunist.
My dear Tom, when your very livelihood and the success of your company depends upon knowing whom you are dealing with,
You saying, Edgar, that some inner voice in you is warning you all may not be what it seems with dear Julius?
Precisely. With regard to that gentleman, I should be extremely surprised if all were what it seems.
Good morning, Mr. Sampson. That gentleman is here again. He's been waiting to see you.
Slinkton?
Yes. Ah, Mr. Sampson, good day to you. It's the matter of the insurance policy.
Oh, yes, the forms you brought to your friend.
Yes. The fact is, I'm no little taken by surprise by what my friend has done by way of life insurance.
Has he filled out the application?
He told me so.
What is his name, Mr. Slinkton?
Beckwith.
Adams, if you have a life application there from a Mr. Beckwith, would you bring it in?
You see, Beckwith and I live in the same digs in Middle Temple, top of the same staircase. His door is opposite mine. Here it is, Mr. Sampson. Mr. Alfred Beckwith applies for £2,000 life insurance.
Thank you, Adams. Yes, seems to be in order. He names you as beneficiary, Mr. Slinkton.
I never thought he would. I suppose he has no other relatives.
No, it's done all the time. The naming of friends as beneficiaries. Now you, for your part, must also fill out one of our forms. That night, I was at home when I had a visit from a young man I had not seen in several months. John Miltham.
Yes. It's been a long time, Mr. Sampson.
Too long, dear John. My boy looked terrible. What have you been doing with yourself?
Well, I'm not up to sorts.
John, I don't think you should have quit the company. When a sad event happens through an accident of fate...
May I interrupt you, Mr. Sampson? This was no mere sad event, but a tragedy. A great tragedy. Nor, believe me, was it a simple accident of fate.
My point is, no matter how tragic, one's days must go on. To do that, the best medicine is to fill your hours with work. Come back to London life, John. We'll welcome you like a shot.
I can't do the work. I've lost faith in my ability to judge or understand motives. I would be worthless to you.
All because a girl we insured dies?
No, let's not talk about it. At any rate, I've decided on another line of work. Something I'd rather do.
I hope it pays you well. And I hope you are as good at it as you were in insurance. All of us thought you were a marvelous agent. And your commissions proved it, didn't they?
Mr. Sampson, all they proved is I put money ahead of humanity. And that's why I can't say it. It's why Marguerite is dead.
I'm sorry the pain is still with you.
I loved her, Mr. Sampson. Oh, how I loved her.
Death is a part of life, you know.
Yes, I can accept that. But not the reason for her death. I came this evening to tell you of the peculiar circumstances surrounding her death.
She was very young. Too young to die.
Please. Say nothing.
As you wish. I shall sit here and listen.
This is very difficult for me to talk about.
I'm sure it is. I know.
No, you don't. I killed Marguerite. I did. Yet I love that girl as I have never loved anyone before or ever shall again. But if the whole truth were known, I and I alone led her to her death. I murdered her.
What have we here? Quite a turn of events, huh? Our man Edgar Sampson, who manages London life, meets, dislikes, and suspects the sincerity of one Julius Slinkton. Then his former employee, John Miltham, confesses to a murder. Is there a link between these three men? If there are answers, let us hope they are forthcoming when I return shortly with Act 2. Charles Dickens came to his interest in mystery, murder, and the work of detection late in his creative life. Not that social injustice, which he constantly assailed, was foreign to him, but specific chicanery like that in this story was a new subject for Dickens. Certainly none of his characters before John Meltham had ever confessed to murder.
I killed that sweet girl just as certainly as if I had put a bullet through her head.
John, I want you to calm down.
It's been too much for me to bear alone. Let me, in my own way, tell you how it happened. I was sitting at my desk at London Life. You were away, I believe.
Mr. Meltham, there is a young lady come to inquire about insurance. Do you think you can see her?
Yes, why, certainly, Adams. What is her name?
Oh, I don't need to be announced. I am not royalty. Marguerite Niner. And you, sir?
John Meltham. Pray, sit down.
Mr. Meltham, London Life has been recommended to me as trustworthy. I wish to deal with a company that will make good on its promises to pay.
I sincerely hope, Miss Niner, that day is in the very distant future.
We all hope that, Mr. Meltham. But death does not always consult our wishes.
Yes, how old are you?
23. You are smiling, Mr. Meltham.
Yes, of course we will insure you. But may I say, for one so young and beautiful, it seems to me that you're...
I appreciate the compliment. May I have the forms to... Oh, please. May I... Could I have a glass of water? I don't feel at all well.
Miss Niner. Miss Niner. Oh, good Lord. She's fainted. Adams, come here, quickly. In a matter of moments, she had come to of her own accord. Adams and I lifted this beautiful creature and carried her to the couch in your office, Mr. Sampson.
I had heard she'd some slight indisposition, but I had no idea the poor girl had fainted.
Well, she insisted we immediately begin to process her policy. When I asked her if she was under doctor's care, she actually implied they had all given her up. Well, right there, I should have said, my dear young lady, if indeed you have a history of illness, London Life cannot insure you. But she was so intense about taking it out as she lay there, looking at me deeply with her lavender eyes, reaching and touching my heart. How could I refuse her? I could not.
I understand. Extenuating circumstances.
I loved her. There could be no other reason. I'm 30 years old, and for the first time in my life, I knew love.
John, perhaps insuring Miss Niner without medical approval was foolhardy, but I would hardly call that an act of murder. Why, she was abroad in Italy when it happened.
I know now. Marguerite did not die a natural death.
You have proof?
Not yet.
But one must have proof.
Let us say I have enough. But whether at this moment I have adequate proof or not, I shall follow the person I believe directly responsible until the ends of the earth.
Surely the police...
Oh, no. Now, they may have this person later. For now, it is my satisfaction to avenge the deed.
John, I believe the death of this young lady is something you should completely erase from your mind. It is unhealthy to dwell upon it, and it could wreck your life. And supposing you were wrong, that hers was a natural death.
I cannot forget the day she passed away. It was only 1 month to the day her life policy went into effect. It was also the day I had purchased a wedding ring.
It was quite late when John Meltham left my house. We kept in touch, and in September, I went down to Eastbourne for a breath of sea air. Who should be walking the beach that very late afternoon but Julius Slington, with a beautiful girl on his arm, a very delicate, very pale and melancholy young lady dressed in mourning.
Mr. Sampson, as I live and breathe.
Hi, Mr. Slington. This is a coincidence.
How so?
I was thinking of you just the other day.
In a kindly fashion, I hope. Mr. Sampson, this is Miss Niner, my niece. Marjorie, this is Mr. Sampson.
Delighted, I'm sure.
How do you do?
Are you strolling, Mr. Sampson? Shall we stroll together?
With pleasure.
Marjorie and I are about to take this rather steep climb to the top of Beachy Head. Ah, look there. The mark of wheels in the sand. The wheels of a hand carriage. Marjorie, my love, your shadow, no doubt.
Miss Niner's shadow?
Not a sun shadow. Marjorie, my dear, tell Mr. Sampson.
There is nothing to tell except that I constantly see the same invalid old gentleman at all times, wherever I go. When I'm strolling the beach or, as we are now, mounting the path to the cliffs. There he is, within sight, being wheeled about in a bath chair.
Strange. Does he live in Eastbourne?
He is staying here.
Do you live in Eastbourne?
No, also merely staying. Dear Uncle Julius is concerned over my health, so he has me staying with a family.
And your shadow?
My shadow, I fear, is like myself. Not very robust. He's always bundled up. You can hardly see his face. I don't think I should know him if I were to meet him.
I think I see his bath chair down there coming towards us.
I've not seen him for days. But it does happen. Wherever I go, this gentleman goes. Oh, I'm quite out of breath from the climb. Uncle, can we rest a bit?
Certainly, my dear. We're practically at the top.
Isn't that your shadow now, at the foot of our path?
Yes. There he is. And notice, he's always having his bath chair pushed by the same grey-haired gentleman.
Will you both excuse me for a moment? I think I know the gentleman.
Good evening, Mr. Sampson. I'm glad you arrived before it got dark.
John, I must congratulate you upon your disguise. You make an admirable elderly bundled-up gent.
Thank you. Your manservant does well as a porter.
I knew he would. I came as soon as I got your message.
Sir, Marjorie Niner is in danger of her life.
I quite understand.
We must get her away from him.
I shall do my best.
No, not like dear Marguerite, her sister. We must save her.
I have every intention. Keep us inside, John, and I shall do my best to effect a rescue.
He must not know that we know.
Have no fear.
Oh, bless you, sir.
Good Lord. They're gone. I can't see them up there. I must start back.
Hurry! Hurry!
I ran up the steep path at Beachy Head, filled with frightening thoughts of what the area is known for. As I got to the top, I saw Marjorie Niner at the very edge, struggling with Slington. Stop! Stop!
Oh, it's you, Sampson. Oh, thank heaven. I thought we'd lost her.
Miss Niner, what is it?
I don't know rightly. I was just looking down there at those sharp, jagged rocks, and I must have lost my balance or something. It felt like I was being pushed. Then I heard you cry, stop, and then Uncle Julius reached out and he caught me. He caught me before I fell.
Oh, my dear Marjorie, I think this climb was too much for you.
But it was your idea, Uncle.
Are you all right, Miss Niner?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Sampson.
Well, Mr. Sampson, who was he?
I beg your pardon?
Marjorie is dying to know who her shadow is.
Ah, yes, the old gentleman. He is an intimate friend of our mutual friend, Tom, at whose house we first met. A certain Major Banks, an old East India director. You have heard of him?
Banks? Never.
Very rich, Miss Niner, but very old and very crippled. He has been much interested in you, even at long range. He was telling me of the affection he observed between you and your uncle.
Our affection was always a strong one, for we had but few near ties. There are but two of us. Sampson, would you be a good fellow and sit here with my niece while I run back and fetch her medicine?
I shall be glad to.
Oh, Uncle, I'm putting you to such trouble. It's hateful tasting stuff.
I shall be as quick as I can.
Please be careful. It's almost dark now and the path is steep.
Don't worry, my dear. Half an hour or so and I shall be back.
He is such a good man.
Miss Niner, tell me more about your uncle.
Oh, you have no idea. The way he cared for my sister. His untiring devotion to her strange illness.
Strange?
What? She just wasted away. No one could ever explain it satisfactorily.
Your sister passed away in Italy?
Yes. How did you know? We were taking a journey, mostly for her health, and in this little town high in the Dolomites where there was no doctor, no help whatsoever, she passed away. They had her buried there.
You have no family? No one to wish her remains back in England?
Marguerite and I are orphans. We have no money, no one, nothing. Oh, I signed a little insurance over to Uncle Julius, as did Marguerite. Otherwise, we were quite alone in the world until he came into our lives. He made us call him Uncle, but we're not related, really.
May I call you Marjorie?
Certainly.
I ask that because someone very dear to your sister is very dear to me, and he is much concerned over your well-being.
He has a right to be so. I have a feeling that my life is drawing to an end, even as did Marguerite's. It must be in our blood.
Marjorie, do you have any idea why Mr. Slington brought you to Eastbourne?
Yes. For the restorative powers of the sea air.
This very place where we now sit, this cliff, is called Beachy Head. Do you know what it is famous for? In all of England, what Beachy Head is known for?
No.
Suicides.
What?
You heard me right. Suicides. When I came up the cliff path just now and saw you in your uncle's arms, suicide is what flashed to my mind. If you had dropped over the edge, would it have looked like suicide?
But I thought I tripped.
And you thought he caught you? Perhaps.
What are you saying, Mr. Sampson?
And the medicine you find distasteful, does it not make you feel worse rather than better?
Uncle Julius said one must expect that.
Why must one? Marjorie, time presses. Heed my warning. Collect your strength, your resolve. Had you been alone up here, one misstep, and this moment you would be lying shattered on those rocks below. Believe me, the next time your life will not be spared.
I cannot believe you.
You must. As your friend, as your sister's friend, I entreat you, Marjorie, without one moment's loss of time, come with me, and I shall bring you to the man you call your shadow. He can tell you better than I of the danger to your life. I had barely the time to run with her to the bath chair where Melton was waiting. As the evening star rose into the heavens over Beachy Head, I saw them disappear, and the tall, familiar form of Julius Slington make his way up the cliff to my side.
The tall man with his hair parted in the middle had an air about him that said to Edgar Sampson, "Keep off the grass." Now, as he approaches Sampson, the sign seems to read, "Look out. Danger." We have a devious and cunning man, possibly a murderer, pitted against a clever and just man. What happens will be revealed when I return in a few moments with Act 3. Night has fallen on the English seacoast town of Eastbourne. The waves are high and signal an impending storm. But in the air is not only a storm at sea, but a storm of anger, which might break at any moment. The young lady, fortunately, has been spirited away to safety. Edgar Sampson sits on a rock high on the beachhead cliffs and waits.
Mr. Sampson, my niece is not here.
Miss Nina felt the growing chill and has gone home.
Indeed.
I persuaded her.
She's easily persuaded for her own good. Thank you, Mr. Sampson. She's better within doors.
Safer. I thought so, too.
I shall have to take her medicine down to her, then.
She is very delicate.
Very. Since the unfortunate death of her sister, Marjorie has not fared well. But we must hope. Do you stay here in Eastbourne long, Mr. Sampson?
I know. I'm going away tonight.
Oh, so soon? Has the sea air restored you so quickly?
Events, Mr. Slington. Events have quite restored me, thank you. I'm going back.
To London?
To London. And I'd better start down. That storm is overtaking us.
Mr. Sampson, may I ask, poor Tom Meltham, whom we spoke of, he has been stricken, you were telling me?
Indeed, yes. Fatally.
Is he dead yet?
Not when I last heard of him, but too broken a man to live long, and hopelessly lost to us at London Life. Were he even to live, which I doubt, he will never be the man he was.
Oh, dear, dear. Sad. The world is a grave.
A few days later, I arranged to see Marjorie Niner in London. I selected the safest place possible, an address where I was certain we could meet in broad daylight and not be observed. In front of the statue of Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens.
Mr. Sampson, my head is still in a whirl. I honestly don't know what to make of all this.
That is exactly the reason, Marjorie. Honesty.
You mean?
I mean that most of us take at face value the actions of others. We begin by trusting them. We expect them, in return, to treat us honestly. The man you call your uncle exploited you, and your sister, shamefully, criminally. And it is only a matter of time before he is caught in his own web.
Uncle Julius. It's so hard for me to believe. He seemed so devoted to us. We often remarked at our extraordinary good fortune to have been befriended 2 girls working in a factory we were by this charming, lovely, thoughtful person who never made an untoward move in any way.
His only interest, Marjorie, is money. It seems a shame to be talking about such a man in this beautiful place.
Do you know, I haven't been to Kensington Gardens since I was a little girl.
And did you know another little girl was born right over there in Kensington Palace, and she always played in these gardens? Queen Victoria.
Marguerite and I would roll our hoops right along this path. I miss her so, Mr. Sampson. I wish we had never met, Mr. Slinkton. I wish it with all my heart.
Just try to believe all that has happened is perhaps a dream. You'll wake up, Marjorie, and the world will be beautiful again.
I just thought that nice man, the one who helped me get away from Beachy Head, my shadow. Peter Pan could never get his shadow to stick on.
That's better. You're smiling. Good things can happen tomorrow. Remember that. Even little Peter Pan believed that. I must be going now. I shall watch over you even more closely than your shadow at Beachy Head.
How long must I remain with Mr. Meltham's sister?
Until we are certain Mr. Slinkton no longer roams the streets.
When will that be?
Soon, I hope. Very soon. The final thread of the web led me to the building where Julius Slinkton lived, the top floor. He on one side of the stairs, and on the other, the gentleman whose life he had insured with us, Mr. Beckwith.
Who is that? Oh, welcome. Enter, my good man.
Excuse me, I noticed the name on the door. Alfred Beckwith.
That is me. Do you know me?
By name only. I'm with London Life.
Ah, yes, you are looking for my dear friend Slinkton, no doubt. He is it's across the hall. I'll call him. Julius? Julius Caesar! You have a visitor. What did you say your name was?
Sampson.
Julius Caesar! The sun is over the yardarm!
Alfred, what is the matter with you? Oh, Mr. Sampson, what brings you here?
Mr. Beckwith, will you excuse us a moment? Where can we talk, Mr. Slinkton?
Right outside, on the landing.
Oh, yes, indeed. You are excused, but I shall expect you back.
Is this your friend, Beckwith, who you insured with us?
I'm afraid it is. I'm exceedingly sorry to say.
But surely you could be of some help. He is your friend, you said. His rooms are in such disorder. How can anyone live like that? By the way he looks, I'd say he's in the last stages of delirium tremens.
I'm as saddened as you. Yes, he's a very great friend. He must have been very ill, even before I knew him. Now I can do nothing with him. Nothing at all.
How is your niece, Mr. Slington?
My niece?
Margarine Niner. The one I met with you at Beachy Head.
I'm sorry to say, Mr. Sampson, that my niece has proved treacherous and ungrateful. She left me without a word of notice or explanation. Simply disappeared. No doubt she was misled by some designing rascal. You may have heard of it.
I did hear she was misled by some designing rascal. In fact, I have proof of it.
Are you sure of that?
Quite.
Are you both standing out there on the landing forever? Company to breakfast. Julius, boil the brandy.
My dear Mr. Beckwith, I see no food about. Nothing to eat but these salted herrings.
Yes, Julius believes in keeping up my thirst. You will forgive me, Mr. Sampson, the way I am dressed. This whole dressing gown is all I seem to have. My clothes have all disappeared.
Surely, Mr. Slington, you could fetch him some food to eat. The man is ill.
Mr. Sampson, you're a man of the world. I'll be plain with you.
Oh, no, you won't.
I understand your object in visiting here. London Life wishes to save its funds and escape from its liabilities. These are old tricks of the trade with you insurance gentlemen. But you will not do it, sir.
Julius, I found some brandy.
No, you will not be able to evade payment, sir, should anything happen to this dear man. You will not succeed, Mr. Sampson. You have not an easy adversary to play against when you play against me. When the time comes and Mr. Beckwith is no more, we shall have to inquire when and how he fell into his present habits.
Julius, gentlemen, I drink to your health.
Sir, Mr. Sampson, I put this incoherent, poor creature aside and wish you a good morning.
With that, Alfred Beckwith took his entire glass of brandy and threw it right into Slington's face, and then the glass after it. As he mopped the blood and brandy away, Julius Slington saw before him a man no longer reeling and trembling, but a changed, determined, forceful Alfred Beckwith.
Slington, look at me, you villain. See me as I really am. I took these rooms to bait a trap for you. You thought me a poor drunkard, an imbecile. You insured my life, did you? I saw Mr. Sampson before you did. Your plot has been known to us all along. Having baited you with a prize of £2,000, you were going to kill me off with brandy. And since the brandy didn't seem to be working quickly enough, you were pouring poison into my glass. Oh, so I was not too far gone not to observe you.
The man is mad. Obviously a drunkard and a fool.
Murderer. Why do you suppose I was certain you would fall into the trap? Because you are no stranger to me, Julius Slington. I knew you, murderer, who for so much money had poisoned one innocent girl while she trusted you and was on the point of killing another.
Are we going to stand here, Mr. Sampson, and listen to the ravings of this lunatic?
Perhaps we had better.
But while you may be able to deceive your young ladies, this old bird was not fooled. Do you think that I drank all the liquor you plied me with? I poured it away. And then when you were out, I let myself into your apartment, investigated your papers, took samples from your poison bottles, your packets of powder, changed the contents to harmless sugar, lest you be out trying to kill more innocents.
Dear me, Mr. Sampson, don't you find all this a little repetitious and boring?
Not half as repetitious as your private journal spelling out in detail, page after page, how long it took you to do away with your victim. The size of the doses, the signs of gradual decay upon the mind and body, the fancies produced, the pain inflicted. It's repetitious, but not boring.
Mr. Sampson, I cannot remain in this poor demented creature's presence any longer. I'm going back to my apartment.
You won't find that journal in the secret drawer of your writing desk any longer.
Then you are a thief.
And I am also your niece Marjorie's shadow. I followed you to Eastbourne, made certain Mr. Sampson was on hand when you tried to use Beachy Head as the scene of a suicide. And all the while plying Miss Nina with medicine. You said medicine indeed.
Who are you? Why have you pursued me like this? Are you the police?
No, Mr. Slington. We are life insurers. We bank on the life, not the death of those we insure. I am not the police.
Beckwith, who are you?
When you sent the sweet Margaret Nina, whom you murdered, to the office of John Meltham, it fell to his lot to see her, speak with her, give her the insurance forms naming you as beneficiary. But it did not fall to his lot to save her. Having lost her, he had but one object left in life, and that was to avenge her and destroy you. I am John Meltham.
Julius Slington was apprehended, brought to trial, and condemned to pay for his crimes with his life. John Meltham, I am happy to say, is beginning to recover from the sadness of having lost his first love. At least, he no longer blames himself for her death. And it may very well be, if he and Marjorie Nina continue to see one another, they will both find a happiness long delayed. As for myself, Edgar Sampson, I look very carefully at the line marked beneficiary in your policy. I try to find out as much as I can before we insure your life.
Insurance files are filled with stories like the one you just heard. Recently, a man was insured for $50,000. He was thrown into an icy river, left to catch pneumonia, poisoned with alcohol, set afire, run over by a car, and still the man would not die. Others have not fared so well. Is there a precaution, an answer? I'll try to give you one when I return shortly. Yes, it was over 125 years ago that Charles Dickens wrote this brilliant expose, especially for American readers, serialized in a New York newspaper. Have times and crimes changed that much in well over a century? Deceit for gain, murder for profit? I'm afraid not. The answer, then, is to be on one's guard. Ask, who stands to win if you lose your life? Find out. Be careful, and you may live longer. Our cast included Gordon Heath, Patricia Elliott, Robert Dryden, and Earl Hammond. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. None of us is immune to that old game about people once in the public eye. I suppose you could call it the whatever happened to game. In this case, the woman generally considered the most beautiful and desirable in the world, Marcy Herrick. The first accident, of course, was a 10-day wonder, but the second didn't get as much publicity.
though it took Marcy into a coma and eventually forever out of sight and out of mind. Our mystery drama, The Prison of Glass, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Lois Nettleton. Marcy Herrick, an American symbol, blend of Judy Garland and Marilyn Monroe, adored by countless millions, picked by fortune to be the brightest of stars, but confined by the smothering adulation of her fans to life in a goldfish bowl. Child of fortune, queen of misfortune, a national tragedy of mob nonviolence. This is her story.
All my life, I dreamed of being here, inside this glass paperweight, with the feathery snow under my feet, and the dark little house with the bright red door beckoning to me to enter it and discover its secrets at last. No more wondering if I could really see a tiny shadow across the window under the eaves, or the handsome, dark face I pretended to myself looked out from the oriel window on the ground floor. Well, now I am here at last. And all I want to do is break out of my glass prison. I want to scream till the glass shatters. So terrible to look out, seeing everything magnified, and knowing that the one possession I love the best has ended up being a prison I may be shut away in forever.
Marcy, where are you?
In the living room, Mother.
What are you doing?
Oh, playing with this paperweight. How pretty the snowstorm is. So many years since I saw snow, and since...
Don't you ever get over Fred and get him off your mind?
Pop? No. I'll never forget him. Do you?
Of course I don't. But there's no point dwelling on the dead.
Oh, every time I see the paperweight, it's like he was still in the room, laughing that funny, deep way he did, pleased that I was pleased with my present.
It's too long ago to still be mourning for him.
Why?
Because he's gone. I'd like to make an end of that silly child's toy sometimes. You're too old to play with toys.
This isn't a toy. It's a real old antique. Pop told me. Look at the little house. And the trees planted round, and the path leading over the little hill to the door.
And turn it upside down and then right side up and watch the snowflakes fall.
Look, Mother, wouldn't you love to be small enough and to be able to somehow get inside there and walk up that path and knock on the door? Who do you suppose would open it?
Oh, Marcy, that's enough nonsense.
You know who I keep being sure it would be?
Who?
Pop. That's who it would be. Pop.
Now, that is all. You put the paperweight down and come and get dressed. We've got a million things to do to get ready for the contest. Come on.
Mother, do I have to go?
To the finals? But you're going to win.
So what?
Well, first of all, it means money. And second, it means you can enter the state contest. And after that...
I don't want to go.
Why not?
I hate being stared at and walked around and examined as though I was a prize heifer or an animal in the zoo. Or something even worse.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you should see how the men look at you in the bathing suit parade and where their eyes go. It's humiliating, degrading.
You mean you'd let me down? After I've devoted every minute of my life to you, working as a cleaning woman, doing other people's dirty work just so I could give you a decent home and a chance in life.
No, Mom, I want to pay you back, but not this way.
Well, how else? You know I haven't got much time left to me with my heart condition. How are you going to make enough money to pay off the debts I've had to run up? Oh, no, sir. You want to pay me back, Marcy Gerstenberg? You follow the path I set for you. You'll see. One day, you're going to be a star.
I don't want to be a star.
Well, you can decide that when you get there. Because I'm going to keep pushing you till you get to the top. Even if it kills the both of us.
Well, it killed Mom, all right. Within a few years. And it killed me. A little bit at a time. The paperweight became a kind of symbol for me. Inside it, I might be safe and private. If the faces were peering in at me there, I could always hide in the soft snow. But there was never a chance to hide. Because even when Mom stopped pushing me and got really sick, there was always someone else. First of all, the man who changed my name. My agent.
Yeah, what is it? Marcy Herrick, you're damn right, Santa Ann. Little Miss Sunday School, what you think she's trying to do to me?
Good morning, Dave.
Come in and shut the door. What's good about it?
Well, we're both alive.
Well, if I didn't invest so much time and bread in you already, you wouldn't be for long, sister. I'd break that alabaster neck of yours with my bare hand.
Don't be mad.
Mad? I'm on my 6th pill this morning. Why'd you stand up Nicholas Sagat for yesterday?
The guy's an octopus. I just couldn't take it again.
Well, you're not a teenager anymore. You know he's got a part in his picture that can make you. You land this part, do it the way you're told, and we're at the start of the payoff at last. I got the investment in you I want back.
Is that all I am to you? A warm body you can peddle?
Oh, cut the sarcasm, baby. It's not your style. You got a mother in the hospital who's expensive to maintain. You want to keep her there?
Sergey will never see me now that I stood him up.
I fixed it. I had him on the phone 15 minutes this morning. I'd eat plenty crow, but I fixed it.
Oh. Now, wait a minute. If you have any idea
now, look, I'm a louse, a hard-nosed son of a gun, but I have some standards. I pulled the little hearts and flowers. I told him you had to go see your mother in the hospital.
That's where I was.
And I figured. With all you got going for you and a mother who needs you, I don't know what it is that you keep running from. I think you still ought to be seeing a good shrink.
No.
Well, it's your business, I guess, but do you make the appointment I set up with Sergey today at 2?
I guess so.
You'd better, because this time, for one reason or another, I'm going to be with you. Meet me in his office 1:45, and wear some lipstick and a dress that fits tight.
Ah, Miss Herrick, I'm delighted to meet you again, at last. And Mr. Morgan.
Hi, Nick.
It really wasn't necessary for you to escort your charming client. She is perfectly safe with me.
Marcy has a back-to-back appointment with Multinational for the ingenue lead in the new feature. I'm playing chauffeur for her because her own car's laid up.
Oh, I see. Well, then I won't keep you long. Sit down, everyone, please.
Thank you.
Well, I had forgotten how beautiful you are. What a pity.
You mean the part is cast?
No. I mean only that your time is so short today. I would have liked to go over the shooting script with you personally.
Well, if I can get a copy of the script, I'd be happy to come back and read for you.
No. I don't work that way. I mean, I must learn to know the actor. I'd have him or her learn to know me. We must establish the rapprochement, no? I mean, it is, as we say, a one-to-one situation, no? However, I'm sure we can let Miss Herrick have a scene, a few pages, to give her the feeling of the part. How soon can we meet again?
Well, if you're under any pressure, Mr. Sir.
When are we not? When are we not, all of us?
Name the time and the place. I'll have my client there.
All right, my bungalow, on the set. Day after tomorrow at, say, 5:30.
We'll be there.
She. A one-to-one situation, as I said.
She'll be there. Right, Marcy?
Right, Dave. You make the dates. I keep them. I can't blame Dave. Nothing overt was even particularly hinted at. It was a business appointment, it was an exceptional part, and I was an actress. How much of my private self I was willing to surrender for a career was my own business. So, I kept my appointment at 5:30 with Nicholas Sergett. Ready, I suppose, to deliver. And I received a surprise. What he seemed to be interested in was my talent, whether I was right for the part. We went over the scene again and again, and finally he said...
Nope, it still isn't right. But all the capability is there. The part is yours if you want it.
But of course I do. I don't know what to say.
As far as the part is concerned, we'll let your agent handle that. But as for us, now that is something else again.
Uh-oh.
No, don't jump to the obvious conclusion. Which is true enough, Marcy. I am a man. I'm not a stone.
And that's what my contract depends on?
Don't be silly. I can have 100 partners, more sensual, more practiced, or more perverted than you. For us, there's something different.
Isn't there always?
Marcy, please grow up. I'm talking of something that I see in you beyond a simple urge of sex. Something that you will communicate to every man as strongly as you do to me. What our final relationship will be is kind of hard to say. I mean, it's compounded of so many things. Director, actress, husband, wife, lover, neophyte. But none of that is important. What is that here and now I tell you, you will play in my picture. And from it, a star will be born.
Oh, he was persuasive and passionate, and he made me believe him. Incredible to think that we never recognize, except in hindsight, the turning points of life. And that in this moment, with these few words, Nicholas Surgat had shaped my future entrapment and sealed his own death at my hands.
Murder from someone as gentle and dependent as Marcy? And by what means? And to what end? And if indeed there was murder, by what instrument that leads to the strange imprisonment we first found Marcy immersed in at the beginning of our story? I'll return in a moment with Act 2. Most of you will be old enough, I imagine, to remember the headlines at the time. Marcy Herrick, injured in fall. Beloved star in coma. Even if you don't remember them, they have little significance, for this is the true story behind those headlines. A story best told by Marcy herself.
I played in Nick's picture, an experience I don't know if I'd want to live through again, except it shaped my life.
All right, now let's have it absolutely quiet. We have the sticks. Action.
But really, there's nothing to explain. You've made yourself perfectly clear. I have my options. The one thing I'm permitted to do is choose. Heads or tails.
Cut. Okay. Just bury that. Kill the lights. We're on a break. Marcy, come on. I'll talk to you in your dressing room. I don't care what the lines seem to say, darling. It's what they mean. What they must convey to the audience.
Oh, what should they convey except exactly what they say?
Well, please stop talking from the naivete of your own personal morals. You think you have any choice?
Why shouldn't I?
Because this picture has nothing to do with your own personal little Never Never Land. That's why. It's real. It's here. It's where it's at. In the particular situation you find yourself in this script, in the part you are playing, you have no choice. And in spite of what you say, you have to know that.
That I have no choice?
Exactly.
Then I'm playing myself?
Exactly. Why do you think you were cast in this?
Because you think that's all I'm capable of doing.
Because I think that's what the audience wants to see, to buy. Because the quality of you is going to make you a star.
What does that mean?
It's a dichotomy, a contradiction, a fascinating enigma. The girl with everything, looks, figure, sex, a voice that ripples through everyone from the heart right down. And yet...
And yet what?
The other side. The feeling of a little girl lost that everyone wants to protect, to fuss over, arrange for, shield from harm.
But I don't need to be shielded. And I'm not a sex symbol. The truth
is you need a guardian, if not a lover. Now, I want to be both. We ought to be married.
I'm not ready to be married yet.
Perhaps not. But for your mother's sake, I think you better be.
What's my mother got to do with this?
Everything. She has a dream for you that she knows you'll never win for yourself.
A dream that might occur to you that I don't share.
Don't be ridiculous. There isn't a girl in the world who would pass up the chance to be a star.
I won't even answer that. I just want to know how you know about my mother.
Okay. I went to visit her in the hospital. My old world upbringing, perhaps. One asks the parents of the girl one wants to marry for their permission, or at least tacit agreement. Since the father is dead, one goes to the mother.
Oh, good Lord, it's happening all over again. I'm not a person, I'm a commodity. Oh, why can't you all just leave me alone?
To be what?
To be I don't know what. I never even seem to have a chance to find out for myself. To be Marcy Gerstenberg, first off, I guess.
After this picture, Marcy Gerstenberg will no longer exist. There will only be Marcy Herrick.
And if I don't want to be Marcy Herrick?
Pretty hard to escape. There's also one contract I don't think you could break.
What?
An unwritten one. It's with a very sick lady in the hospital.
Mom?
Your mother, who's going to have open heart surgery. Very expensive surgery.
Don't.
Listen, Marcy. Darling, what is it you're afraid of? I mean, most girls would give their eye teeth for the career that beckons you. Why in the world don't you want it?
I don't know. Because I want simpler things. A man to love, children, never to ask anything more from them than they want to give. Some time to myself. I need that. My own snow paperweight world.
What?
Nothing. Just a special thing of my own. But most of all, Nick, I just don't feel I have the talent. I mean, just to look at me on the set. I can't get things the way a real actress should.
Baby, who wants you to be an actress? I want you to be you. No one else. If I can achieve that, if you can, you'll be one of the greatest. I know you're gonna be. But you need help. I think I can offer it. And best as your husband.
But I don't want to be married.
But it's what you need. You have to be guided, shaped, protected.
And if I refuse?
Well, I might have to make a change in casting. Unfortunately for you, on the production end, there is an escape clause. Among other things, you'd be throwing away a lot of money. A lot of necessary money in your case, because...
You don't have to hammer it home. Like my part in the picture, I have no options. Not even heads or tails.
Marcy, you missed the point. It's the same option. There's always choice. Win or lose.
Before I went to the hospital that night, I sat, idly tilting my snowstorm paperweight in my hands, watching the snow, trying to let it calm me as it used to. But not tonight. All I could think of were phrases like caught in a vice, trapped, a squirrel in a cage. And then, without any decisions, I went to see Mother.
Marcy?
Dave, what are you doing here?
Oh, I drop by now and again to say hello.
To Mom?
Well, sure. I mean, we go a long way back, her and me, you know.
How is she tonight?
No use you going in there. They have her, like, knocked out.
She's worse?
Well, it's why I hung around. I called you at home, but you'd already left. The doc is waiting to see you.
Why?
Marcy, I guess this is it. They're going to have to operate.
It was a long operation, over 6 hours, and Dave sat with me in the waiting room all the way. People talk about a lot of things in the small hours of the night. Not me, but Dave did. And as he talked, I was suddenly seeing him through different eyes, realizing that once in the past, before Dad came along, Mom and he had been quite close.
Now, let's get it straight again. Your contract with Nicholas Surgat and his production company only promises to deliver your services as an actress.
I know that, Dave, but maybe he's right. If this is what I'm to do, I need someone like him to
play Svengali to your trilby?
It doesn't have to be that melodramatic.
It doesn't have to be at all.
I need money for Mom. Especially if, please, God, she comes through.
If it's money, I got it.
Well, even if I did borrow from you, Dave, and that's all it could be, it isn't the answer. First off, I'd have no guarantee that I could pay it back, but more important, I need success for Mom to make up to her for all she never had.
You still don't have to marry him.
I'm sort of an old-fashioned girl. So Nick and I were married, and Tales You Win became a colossal hit, and suddenly it seemed, although it took 2 or 3 years, I was miraculously everything Mom had wanted to be.
Damn it, what are you sitting on your rear end there for? Come on, we've got a party to go to, big deals, big connections.
I'm beat tonight, Nick. I can't go anywhere.
Well, you're going to go somewhere. This feature's up for grabs. I want it. I need it.
Then go alone, darling. What do you need me for? I suppose the curse of my life is naivete. It took Dave to explain that to me later.
He was on the way out when he married him. He latched onto you as a meal ticket. He wanted you with him because he needed you. You're all that keeps him alive.
What?
Oh, baby, he knew he had it in you from the beginning. Sure, he gave you your first chance, but almost from that day on, he's been riding your skirt tails.
What are you trying to say?
I'm not trying. I'm laying it on the line. Marcy Herrick is alive and living well in Hollywood. Nicholas Surgat is dead and owes his existence to you not only now, but pretty near from the first day he met you.
You mean that all these years he's been using me?
About the size of it, sweetie.
Oh, what a fool I've been.
Oh, now, wait a minute. You were caught in a nut crack.
Oh, not anymore. Now that Mama's gone. Okay, Dave. I'll take care of the rest of it. But it wasn't all that simple. Ever since my mother's death, working the heavy schedule I had to face, trying to be a decent wife to a man I thought I owed so much to, other habits had developed. The blessed uppers. Those nice little pills that gave you enough energy to fight through the long days of shooting. And the even more welcome, the lovely pills that let you sleep. And while that sleep was coming, allowed you to slip back to childhood with the snowstorm paperweight in hand, searching for someone going up the path, or for that face that you never could quite see in the window, but which somehow spelled love and all the answers.
What are you doing just sitting here, Marcy?
Nothing, Nick. Just playing with my favorite toy.
That damn paperweight is about the measure of your brain. Let's have a drink. Come on, we should celebrate.
What for?
I just set you up for a nice new picture.
How nice. Do I want to do it?
700,000 net and a percentage of the gross.
What's the part?
What's the diff? It's duck soup for you.
You feed at the same trough?
What does that mean?
You direct, of course?
Of course.
If I play?
What's all the flack here? What's...
Just about my playing.
What?
I don't think I want to do a new picture. I think I'd rather play with this.
So that silly toy. I'm telling you, one day I'm going to take it from you. I'm going to smash it.
My mother once said that.
Yeah, well, she should have got it. As I think I'm going to do right.
No.
Yeah, give me. Come on, give me.
Don't you touch that.
Get out, Tommy.
Don't away, you drunken fool. Don't you touch it. You. Nick, are you all right? You... Blood. You hit your head on the andiron. Or did I hit you with a paperweight? What? I don't know. I don't know. What have I done? I've killed him.
Appalled, Marcy shifts her gaze from the man, prone and unmoving on the floor, to the beloved paperweight in her hand, somehow tinged with blood. Accident or murder? We don't know yet. Even in the mildest of people, the force is unleashed when their privacy is invaded, or something they treasure threatened, are as primeval as the tiger that lives in all of us. I'll return shortly with Act 3. There was no way, of course, of keeping the story out of the papers or off radio and TV. You'll remember what headlines it made for 10 days, until the investigation was over and Marcy was completely exonerated. Officially, that is. Unofficially, the self-declared insiders, the wise and the worldly, the Hollywood rumor factory that never shuts down, knew better. Nick was an anchor round her neck she couldn't get rid of any other way. Good for her. More power to her for having the nerve and for getting away with it. And then there was Marcy herself.
I knew all about the talk behind my back. It destroyed me, like the Chinese water torture. Because of all people, I least of all exonerated myself in Nick's death. For years, I'd hated him for what he'd made me do. I'd wanted him dead, wanted to kill him. And that night was a blank in my mind. I went to pieces. Now I wanted to die. There was nothing left for me. The pills. That's all I lived on. All that kept me alive.
Marcy, you gotta listen to me, baby.
I killed him, Dave. I killed him.
You didn't. He was falling down drunk. He hit his head on the andiron.
No.
He killed himself.
No, I wished him dead. Same thing.
Marcy, you need help. I have a doctor.
No, there's no help for me. We struggled, Dave, because he wanted to break my paperweight. I pushed him, and that's how he fell.
It was still an accident.
Maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, Dave. Oh, Dave, I don't want to go on living. There's nothing left.
Oh, now knock that off. I've got 3 major features lined up for you as soon as you pull yourself together. But you've got to get some help
There's
first.
no help for me anywhere. Except maybe inside here. If I could just walk through the powdery snow and up the little path and over the hill to the house, then maybe there'd be help. The secret of my life is here. Somewhere inside here. I've always known that. If I could only get in there and unlock the future, maybe I could find a way to want to live.
Why do you believe that so strongly?
Who are you?
Paul Barkley. Dr. Paul Barkley.
Who?
Don't you remember? Dave Morgan recommended me to you and brought you to me.
I don't remember coming here.
I should think that's quite possible under the circumstances.
What circumstances?
You were barely semi-conscious.
Oh, I know. I'd taken a tranquilizer.
A barbiturate, a little heavier than a tranquilizer.
Who are you?
I told you. Dr. Paul Barkley.
Where am I?
In my office. You should be in a hospital.
What kind of doctor are you?
Psychiatrist.
So you think I'm crazy?
No, I think the whole world is. Or sane, or somewhere in between. That's the human condition.
You sound kind. But I wouldn't go to the hospital.
But you would come to see me here?
It wouldn't do any good.
But you could try. After all, we have met and become acquainted. It isn't as if you're buying a pig in a poke.
A pig in... My father used to say that.
So did mine. That gives us something in common. You liked your father, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Didn't you yours?
Oh, yeah, we got along just fine. Still do.
Oh, you're so lucky. Mine is...
A long, long time ago.
Not for me. It always seems just like yesterday.
I'm sorry. Why did you love your father so much?
Oh, he sort of, didn't care. I mean, everything rolled off his back. You know? Now, Mother was always doing and planning and pushing herself and me and everyone. But Dad always found time to sit back and chuckle, tell a funny story.
You didn't like your mother?
I loved her.
Or maybe you were a little jealous of her.
Why would I be jealous of her?
Because she was the one who was married to your father, not you.
The paperweight isn't an obsession with me. I just love it because...
Because what?
Because it was the last present he ever gave me.
And all this stuff about wanting to lose yourself inside it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's because when I became famous, I felt I was living in a goldfish bowl. There was no place to hide. And then after, I'd keep thinking, somehow, if I were in there, I'd find out the real truth about me.
Well, aren't you beginning to get a glimmering of the truth just from all our talks?
I don't know what you mean. Tell me.
It wouldn't do any good for me to tell you, Marcy. You have to find that out for yourself.
I didn't know what Paul meant, but I did know one thing. More and more every day, I was conscious of it. For the first time in my adult life, I was in love. I was hopelessly, deeply in love with Paul Barkley. Something I don't think he could know. Or would be talking about.
You've got to be kidding, Paul.
I wish I were.
Yeah, but just when you're really beginning to help her, get her back to herself.
I've got to disqualify myself now. It's too dangerous.
Just because Marcy's fallen in love with you? Isn't that part of the whole analysis picture?
The transference of love, hate. The psychoanalyst takes the place of the, well, in this case, the father. Sure, that's one thing that happened. To be expected. It's one reason I have to bow out.
Well, I don't get it.
All right. I'll put it as simply as possible. In this case, I can no longer be objective or handle it. Because you see, the tables are turned. The doctor has fallen in love with his patient. Oh, but don't worry, Dave. I have the best men in the business ready to take over.
The only trouble was I didn't want the best men in the business. I wanted Paul. And when I found I wasn't to have him, never dreaming how he felt about me, it was my father again. And the only way I could find him was to cross the border to where he was. That's why I took the overdose of pills. And that's why, barely conscious as they took hold, some instinct of preservation helped me drag myself from the bed and head for downstairs in the open air. I never made it. Instead, I stumbled at the head of the stairs and pitched helplessly like a rag doll to a senseless heap at the bottom.
What's happening, Paul? How is Marcy?
Some superficial bruises, nothing else.
Well, is she conscious?
No. No, she's still in coma.
From the pills?
No, that's impossible. The hospital is taking care of to get them completely out of her system.
Then it's the fall.
No. There's no indication that that's the cause.
But why is she in a coma?
One of the aspects of the problem, catatonia. Fortunately, one of the easiest in its early stages to correct.
I don't care what medical name it is. How do you bring her out of it?
That's a good question. I wish I knew. I have a key, but it's too late to use it to unlock Marcy's jail.
When I first found myself locked inside the glass paperweight, I had no fear. Only a surging sense of joy that at last I was where I wanted to be. I hurried up the path through the gently falling snow, which was warm and almost tickled like feathers, to knock on the little red door.
Who is it? Wait a minute. Yeah?
Pop!
Who are you?
Marcy!
Been a long time. I don't remember so well.
Oh, you couldn't forget me. We were so close, Pop. You and me. So close.
The only thing close to me, Bright Eyes, is this little bottle. Or the next one. Or the next one after that.
You mean I just made you up? The way I wanted you to be? Not the way you were at all.
Maybe. What's the difference? That's your problem.
Thanks.
For what?
For telling me. For waking me up.
I can't look at her, Paul. She could be dead.
If I can't find a trigger, she might as well be.
That silly paperweight. How did it get to the hospital?
It was clasped in her hand. We had to force her fingers open to free it.
She's so damned intense. Why is this piece of junk so important to her?
It's a symbol, Dave. Why was her father so important? Was he so wonderful?
Jack Gerstenberg? The jerk of the world. Sober, he was a lump of clay. With some drinks in him, he was always on. Life of the party. Funny, for sure. Appealing. The women went for him, but he was a paste-up man. Not a human feeling in his whole lousy, non-existent soul.
Then why did Marcy set so much store in him? And in this present?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it's the one thing he ever gave her in his entire life.
And for this nothing, someone like her has to be destroyed? Oh, damn him and damn this silly thing. Somebody ought to have got rid of it long ago. Oh. I must be out of my mind. Why would I do a thing like that?
Maybe because the man upstairs, if there is one, put it in your mind. Look.
Oh, Paul.
Oh, Marcy.
Paul, where are you?
Marcy, darling.
I need you.
I'm right here, Marcy. Right where you can touch and feel me.
Oh, don't go away. Please.
Don't you ever worry. I'll never be farther from you than a whisper can carry.
That's how I escaped from my glass prison. And how I became Mrs. Paul Barclay in a private world with 3 children and happiness and no need to look further. So, to the press and all the media, I am no longer news or interesting, even to you who are listening. The story is finished. The beginning of everything for me, but for you, the end.
answer to whatever happened to Marcy Herrick. This time, I'm as happy to tell you as I am happy with the answer. One further thing to add, but after I return shortly. A very brief postscript, but an important one. Neither I, nor Marcy, nor Dr. Paul Barkley would like to leave the impression that she was miraculously cured overnight. The ravages of the mind must be mended as carefully as those of the body, but with time, care, and equal devotion from patient and doctor, more and more of them, as we advance, even in adversity, can be and are. It isn't always won, but there is still hope for the human race. Our cast included Lois Nettleton, John Newland, Hans Conried, Peg LaCentra, and Barry Kroger. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. Death in Fancy Dress, another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice, danger's my stock and trade. If life's tossed you a wet blanket and you're trying to stagger out from under, call on me, George Valentine. Write full details.
My dear Mr. Valentine, because of a hobby that's dear to my heart and certainly innocent enough, I've received several threats on my life of late. I'm aware that this can't be of world-shaking importance, but it is a confounded nuisance to me. If you decide to take pity on me and come to my rescue, please drop in at my apartment, the Hampshire House.
Apartment at the Hampshire Towers tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Would you verify this appointment by phone? Signed, Lloyd Bascom.
Oh, dear old Bascom, whoever he is. Several threats on his life, and he loses composure completely.
Well, at least he did admit it was a confounded nuisance.
I suppose if some scoundrel sprayed him with a shotgun, our friend would say it was a blasted annoyance.
Yeah, well, what intrigues me is this gentleman's hobby. What does he collect, atomic secret?
Hey, you know, Brooksy, I've always wanted to find an exciting pastime for my spare moments. Come on, Angel, verify the man's appointment.
Well, here we are. My trophy room, you might call it.
Mr. Bascom, all I see is a lot of junk.
Yes. Now, take this particular piece of junk. A broken wine glass. The one with which Lucy Graham plunged her coming-out party into a furor. She practically gouged Tony Warren's eye out with it while she was deep in her cups. I bought it from the caterers. As you see, I have it all neatly tagged. The occasion, the date, etc.
And this 1945 license plate, Mr. Bascom?
Oh, yes. The very proper and respected Mrs. Arlington Mackenzie was dragged into court on a hit-and-run charge. That's the plate off her Duesenberg. I bribed her chauffeur to get it. Oh, it was a beautiful scandal.
Ah, well, I can see where this sort of thing wouldn't make you the most popular boy in your set, Bascom.
I could not help being born with a silver spoon. But there's nothing to prevent me from reminding my friends of their more scandalous escapades. Now, look here. This lovely lock of red hair. A very lurid story goes with this.
If you like, you gentlemen can retire to the smoking car.
No, this little affair was quite well publicized. Celeste Dupre, the nightclub singer who was accused of the murder of Malcolm Gardner, the broker. She was acquitted. Dear me, I wonder whatever happened to the dear girl. Now, over here...
Yeah, well, we get the general idea, Bascom. This is your private wax museum of dead scandals you like to keep alive.
Oh, well put, Valentine. I must remember that phrase when I show off my collection at my next party.
You mean you deliberately keep bringing up all this?
Oh, pardon me. I'll see who's at the door.
Huh. Man after my own heart.
Yeah. If you're not careful, Angel, he'll cut it out and put it in his collection.
What surprises me is that Mr. Bascom's been allowed to go on breathing this long.
What's the matter with you, Reynolds? I didn't come here to talk. What is the matter? Have you lost your mind?
Sure.
Yes, maybe I have. Stop it, Reynolds, you fool! Valentine, kill you!
Come on, boys, break it up. You heard me, Frass. Get off of him.
Get out of my way.
Now, listen, Buster, don't make me hang you up to dry. I'm a peace-loving man.
What else have you got here that belongs to my wife, Bascom?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. You see, I found those letters you left under the Christmas tree.
Very well, you found them. I'm as good as my word. I promised Donna I'd let her have them back as a present. But too bad you had to find them. The package wasn't addressed to you, Reynolds.
Never mind that. I burned them without telling her I saw them.
That's too bad. Donna must be very distressed at my breach of faith. Now, Reynolds, if you don't mind, I do have company.
Oh, don't mind us.
I don't know how much Donna paid you for them. Lord knows she's the one with the money. I don't care. But if you have anything else of hers that you can hold over her, I swear I'll break your filthy neck. Just remember that.
Oh, dear. See what I mean, Valentine?
No. Suppose you draw me a diagram.
You've already earned part of your fee when you hauled Reynolds off me.
That was on the house, Bascom.
What do you mean?
I think he means it's no go. If you want protection, you better call out the National Guard.
To put it another way, I don't like your idea of fun. I don't like your museum, and I particularly don't like you.
Now, wait a minute, Valentine.
Let's get going, Brooksy. I don't want to be late for my paper route. Hey, hold it a minute, Angel.
What is it, George?
Anything wrong, Reynolds?
What? Oh, I was just sitting here trying to calm down. I had a few drinks before and...
Yeah, you're looking pretty bad shape. Hey, let me have the wheel. I'll take you home. Hop in the back, Brooksy.
Really, Mr. Reynolds, you didn't have to bother inviting us in.
Well, the least I can do is offer you and Mr. Valentine a drink.
Say, look, Reynolds, don't worry about that little scene up at Bascom's going any farther than us.
Thank you. I'm not in the habit of washing my dirty linen in public. Just make yourself comfortable there in the drawing room. I'll call Donna.
Yeah, thanks.
George, I don't know about you, but...
I know. I'm not too comfortable either. We'll just waltz through the formalities and blow.
Darling, over there, look.
Oh. Yeah.
Come to think of it, Valentine, Donna said...
Hey, wait a minute, Reynolds. Could we go across to that room for a minute?
Why? What's the matter with you two, anyway? Why are you standing there like that?
I just think it's better that you don't come in here right now.
What are you talking about? What happened?
Please, Mr. Reynolds.
Get out of my way. Let me in here. Donna. Donna.
Take it easy, Reynolds. Don't.
But she's dead. Dead?
Here, you better sit down.
Oh. Bascom drove her to this. Might just as well have pulled the trigger himself. I felt like killing you before, now I will.
You can't do that.
Let go of me, you... How can you look at her lying there and say that? Let go of me!
Somehow Bascom will get what's coming to him.
Not Bascom. He never does anything he has to pay for. The law can't punish him, that's why I've got to do this myself.
Sorry, Reynolds. I gotta hold you right here till you pull yourself together. Brooksy, call Lieutenant Riley.
All right, Valentine, here it is.
Yeah, Lieutenant.
Between the medical examiner's report and my amateur sleuthing, it's just what you thought it was when you walked into that room across the hall. Suicide, pure and simple.
I wasn't questioning that.
What? Then what were you questioning? Why did you drag me into the case? Just for old lang syne?
Oh, well, it just seemed a good idea at the time.
It isn't easy, Lieutenant, to know that a man has driven a woman to suicide and not try to do something about him.
Okay, Valentine. I know your heart's in the right place, but look, chum boy, why don't you grow up? There's a lot of slimy characters in this world.
But, Lieutenant Riley, we know Bascom was blackmailing Mrs. Reynolds.
Oh, do we? All I know is she wrote him some silly letters and he was gallant enough to return them to her as a Christmas present. If anything, that makes him out just Ginger Peach.
You know, I'd give a lot to get something on that guy.
Go to it, chum boy. Go to it. But remember, keep it legal. Now I gotta mosey along. Oh, Reynolds.
Leaving, Lieutenant.
Yes, there's nothing more for me to do. I'm sorry about everything. Well, so long, Valentine, and good luck.
So long.
I suppose I should thank you for holding me back before, Valentine. I don't know what I would have done.
Skip it. But there's something else, Reynolds.
Yes?
Nobody can go racketeering with other people's lives without making at least one bad slip somewhere along the line. It seems there are others who feel like you do and would like to see Bascom dead. I want to find out why.
What's that?
I want you to hire me to look into our friends, past and present. See if I can find that one little slip. Is it a deal?
I suppose so, sure.
Okay, you got yourself $1 a year, man.
It may take you years.
That's okay, Reynolds. This is going to be a labor of love.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word from a wise motorist. Can you imagine driving around the world not once, but 4 times without an engine repair? Well, in actual mileage, one man has driven even farther than that on compounded RPM motor oil and without an engine repair. His name is George M. Hollingsworth, an insurance agent in Bakersfield, California. Here's what Mr. Hollingsworth said. Quote, "One of my cars has gone 123,000 miles on RPM without engine repairs," unquote. And lots of Western motorists have told us they've driven 7 and 8 years on RPM without engine repairs. Thousands of others have learned that RPM pays its own way many times over. For RPM is compounded to stop carbon trouble, to guard engine hot spots left bare and exposed to wear by ordinary motor oils, and to keep the whole engine system cleaner. Try RPM motor oil tomorrow. Get it at any standard station or any independent Chevron gas station where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. And now back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. Your would-be client turns out to be, among other things, a blackmailer responsible for the suicide of one Donna Reynolds. So in a complete reversal, you find yourself pitted against the gentleman, determined to find just one slip-up somewhere in his checkered career. If you're like George Valentine, you're as patient as a terrier watching a gopher hole. But you get nowhere, except to Lieutenant Riley's office down at headquarters, where you've been rudely summoned.
I think you know this gentleman, Valentine.
I wouldn't admit it to anybody but you, Lieutenant. Hiya, Bascom.
How are you enjoying your incursion into my life?
I've had pleasanter assignments. What do you want with me, Riley?
Well, as you know, we're a close little family down here at headquarters.
You better give me the next line. I forgot my cue.
Sergeant Olson downstairs told me that this gentleman would like to swear out a warrant against you.
Oh.
So I thought we'd better talk it over first. Now, Mr. Bascom...
You're doing very well, Lieutenant. Go ahead.
Yes. Complaint number 1, illegal entry. Valentine, have you been prowling around in Mr. Bascom's apartment?
Well, I never.
Yeah,
An apartment? Why, I thought it was a museum. Such fascinating exhibits, broken wine glasses, old license plates. I thought it was open to the public. So, as I remember, I did drop in.
Yes. Complaint number 2, questioning Mr. Bascom's friends and causing him unwarranted embarrassment.
Oh, now, that's not fair, Lieutenant. Sure, I talked to a lot of people who knew this, gentleman, but not one of them would admit to being his friend.
Come now, Valentine. Let's not have a battle of wits. You're so unequipped.
Touché, Mr. Bascom, touché.
Cliché, Mr. Valentine, cliché.
What the devil's going on here?
In 2 words of 2 syllables, Lieutenant. If he doesn't stop bothering me, I shall expect that warrant to be served. I think that will be all. Good day. Lieutenant. Did you get that? Can you tie that monkey? Now look here, Valentine. We've broken bread together. Mrs. Riley likes you, well, like a son.
Yeah, and I think of her every time I hear an Irish tenor.
I told you to keep it legal when it comes to Bascom. He and the commissioner have mutual friends.
I gotta find a lead. There's gotta be one.
Well, why do you keep saying that? Just because of some letters between him and the late Mrs. Reynolds, this drawing room character suddenly becomes Jack the Ripper. What have you found anyway?
Oh, nothing much, Lieutenant, nothing much. We checked most of the people on those tags in his collection. They all hate his guts but won't say anything.
Okay, but remember, pal, I warned you.
Hello, Lieutenant. May I come in?
Oh, Brooks.
Sure.
You told me to meet you downstairs.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm just an old chatterbox. What'd you find out, Angel?
Well, the last anybody heard of Celeste Dupre was 2 years ago. She was working in Jake Swansea's cocktail bar out on Fulton Boulevard.
Celeste Dupre, how's she mixed up in this?
One of her beautiful Titian locks is in Bascom's collection of mementos. Remember, she was accused of murder once?
I was going to stop by at Swansea's new club. I thought I'd better talk to you first, darling.
Good girl, Brooksy, good girl. We'll go over and have a talk with Jake right now.
Swansea says for you to wait at the bar. He'll be right down.
Okay, thanks. Come on, Brooksy, let's go. Hey, wait a minute.
What's the matter, George?
Wouldn't that be Reynolds talking to himself at that corner table?
Oh, yeah. Looks like he's drowning his sorrows. Coming up for the last time.
Yeah, better see if I can get him out of here. Hello, Reynolds. Don't you think you ought to go home?
Oh, Valentine.
Would you like us to call your cab, Mr. Reynolds?
What I'm doing, I can do better right here. Thank you, Miss Brooks.
Now, you know, getting crocked isn't going to help anything, Reynolds.
Tell me something, Valentine. Did you get anything on Bascom? Skeleton up in the attic? Trunk full of counterfeit $1,000 bills? When do I come to his trial?
Okay, Reynolds, you win. But take it easy, will you?
Hey, is Swansea waving over here at me or you?
Oh, I think that's our cue, Mr. Reynolds.
Look, Valentine, if Reynolds is a friend of yours, maybe you can get him home. He's been here like that every day.
Oh, he'll snap out of it. Look, Swansea, maybe you can help me.
Sure, sit down. Can I get you anything, Miss Brooks?
No, thanks.
What can you tell me about Celeste Dupre?
Well, Swansea?
Cigarette?
You didn't answer my question.
When did you leave that kid alone? Didn't she have enough trouble back there being accused of murder and everything?
Didn't she work for you once?
Yeah. After it happened, I was the only one to give her a job. Well, if you want anything, it's on the house.
Sit down, Swansea. Now, I asked you, what happened to Celeste Dupre? Where do I find her?
Can't you see I don't feel like talking?
You know I'm going to find her sooner or later anyway, and when I do, I may come back. I want to know why you didn't tell me.
Okay. But don't build any fires under. Make that a personal favor to me.
I don't like to see anybody hurt, Swansea.
Red lives at the Shelby Arms. Only now her name is Seal Dawson.
Police?
Not exactly, Celeste. Or do you prefer Seal?
Does it matter?
Now, my name's Valentine. I'd like you to answer a few questions.
Just whom do you represent?
In this case, Valentine, as much as anybody else.
I can't keep you from asking questions.
Why did you give Lloyd Bascom a lock of your hair?
What did you...
And when did he give you for it? He usually pays for mementos like that.
Why don't you leave me alone?
I hate to come at you from left field like that, but sometimes it gets results.
Oh, during my trial, Bascom asked me for a lock of my hair. I didn't see any harm in giving it to him.
The one I saw looked like a recent acquisition. But we'll let that rest. It's not too bad.
What do you mean?
Well, you've done pretty well for yourself, Celeste. This teepee you live in must run you quite a nut. What do you do for a living?
I model clothes.
The wampum a model gets wouldn't rent a doghouse in this neighborhood. Now, suppose we get out of...
Excuse me. Hello? Yes. Yes, that's right. I didn't expect you to call.
Oh, you should.
Take your hand off the phone.
Say what I tell you, Celeste, and I'm not fooling. Valentine just left. Go on.
Valentine just left. What's that?
Tell him you want to see him. Get right over here because it's important.
No, nothing's wrong. But I wish you'd come over. Yes, very important. Goodbye. I believe you would have hit me if I didn't play parrot for you.
Could be, Red, could be. I'm not on my best behavior these days.
You don't know who that was. Could have been my cousin from 29 Palms.
Whoever it was, Celeste, I'll be waiting downstairs in front of the house to greet him. You didn't waste a minute getting here, did you, Baskin?
Valentine,
Don't look so grief-stricken. Celeste didn't cross you. She had to say what I told her.
Oh, dear, you're turning into quite a problem.
Yeah, well, let's go up and join Celeste. We have a lot to talk about, you and I. Including why you called her to see if I was here. You first, Baskin.
Yes, I could stand a drink of that.
As I recall, when we first met, you were wondering what became of Celeste Dupre.
Oh, that.
Well, there you are, Bascom.
Hey, Reynolds.
I was waiting for you. I'm going to kill you. No, hey.
Don't drop it, Reynolds.
Stop that. Let go of me. He's getting away. I followed him here. Did you let... Oh.
One of those bullets nearly had my name on it.
You hurt? I didn't expect you.
Come on, it's just a scratch. Now let's get out of here. Cops will be flocking around here any minute.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later. Oh, hey, will you take it easy, Brooksy? All the pieces of the puzzle are there, but it's still a puzzle.
All right, but hold your arms still.
Bascom is in the middle of something big. It may be genteel, but it's against the law. Now, what could it be? Do you think that... Ouch! Hey, look, Angel, stop fussing, will you? It's only a scratch.
Well, it could have been more than that. Darling, why don't you let this thing ride? Somebody's going to make a little hole in you yet. Anyway, Reynolds isn't going to rest till he gets Bascom, and there's nothing you can do about it. Think of him. Hiding there in the lobby, waiting. If only...
Sure, that's it. Just like that. Wham, Zowie.
Are you off on another tizzy? What is it now?
Go on, Brooksy, beat it. Take a walk for yourself. Buy yourself some saltwater taffy.
Will you get off the banter wagon and tell me what this is all about?
If you want to find out, meet me at Lieutenant Riley's in about an hour. Now go on.
All right. I don't like taffy. Do you mind if I make it cough drops for this cold?
Cough drops. Oh, Brooksy, baby, you put your finger right on it. Ooh, you doll. Hey, operator, let me have the phone number of Jake Swansea's Club 18.
Look, Valentine, you could have come over to the club if you wanted to see me.
Oh, no, Swansea. You wouldn't want anything like this to happen in your club.
Hey, what? What is that for? What's the play?
I gotta get you in the mood to talk about the tie-up between you and Celeste and Bascom.
They say around town you're a little buzz-headed. And I never believed it before.
Come on, out of your talk, or do we have ourselves a game of ping-pong first?
I don't mind. You want to fight me, Jake? You keep him up there.
I know. What about it, Swansea? What about it?
Smart guy, huh?
I'll put my knee right through you if you don't open up. All right. Okay. Just lay there. Catch your breath.
What do you want to ask me?
First, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah? What?
You're not just mixed up in blackmail, Buster. There's murder involved.
Go on.
You know about it, and you profit by it. That's being an accessory after the fact. They lock you away for that.
Yeah. I see what you mean, Valentine.
Okay, now you're being bright. If you play it smart, maybe they'll go easy on you.
You win. I guess this calls for a drink.
Yeah, Swansea. And a little trip down to headquarters.
Okay, Swansea, okay. You've been very eloquent. Just wanted to be helpful, Lieutenant. Oh, yes, I know. Well, now you can join Miss Dupre in the other office. Oh, Sergeant, send Bascom in here.
I'm right here, Lieutenant.
Well, sit down.
Thank you. Oh, Valentine, you look a mess. Fighting again?
Yeah. But it was worth it just for this one little occasion. Bascom, you met Celeste during a trial.
What of it?
You were looking for mementos for your collection. You didn't get one until some time after, when you and she got to know each other, rather well.
Don't expect any comment from me. You're spinning this fairy tale.
All right, then, Bascom, shut up.
So sorry.
In fact, you and Celeste became so chummy that somehow she found herself in a perfect spot. You had arranged all the unpleasant details, Bascom, and she could sit back and blackmail you groggy. And Swansea was just the boy to see that you paid off.
Come on, son, come on. Get to the point for the man. The murder.
The murder? Oh, you know all about that, Bascom, don't you? After all, you worked it out. Deliberately fancy, but very neat. Classic picture of suicide, motive and all. Yet it was murder.
Lieutenant, I'm beginning to resent the unrestrained use of that word in connection with me.
Yeah? Well, I'll just take my chances on your being angry with me, too, Mr. Bascom. I'm holding you on suspicion of murder.
On what evidence?
With what Miss Dupre and Swansea will have to say, I'll risk being wrong.
Mr. Reynolds just arrived, Lieutenant.
Oh, yeah? Well, I suppose he ought to know what's been going on, so have him come in.
I should like to call my attorney, Lieutenant.
There'll be plenty of time for that.
Come on in, Reynolds. You missed the fireworks.
Why, what's happened? Well, this should give you some satisfaction. We're holding Bascom for the murder of your wife.
What's that? Did you say murder?
Yes. Oh, Sergeant, take this guy away now. Huh?
All right, come on now, this way.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold it, Sergeant. I don't want you to make 2 trips.
What's this, Valentine?
Don't rush me, Lieutenant. Tonight, when you were pouring shots at Bascom, you were really trying to kill me, Reynolds.
What are you saying? Why would I do that?
You didn't follow him to Celeste's place as you said. You couldn't have. You were already inside the lobby. Miss Brooks reminded me of that. Then everything fell into place.
I still want to know what reason I'd have for doing anything like that.
What about it, Valentine?
A man will do anything to get away with murder, Lieutenant. It was Reynolds who killed his wife. Ouch. Oh, will you stop it, Brooks?
Oh, be still. You're just a big baby. This is nothing but a little iodine.
Oh, little iodine, little iodine. Lieutenant, do something. She's torturing.
Oh, you'll live, chum boy.
Fine thing. I fix your arm and you have to go and get into a fight.
Yeah.
I guess people never will learn. I mean about murder. If they want to kill, why don't they just bash somebody over the head without being fancy?
What a fine way for a lieutenant to talk.
Oh, they'll get caught, sure. But think of all the trouble they'd save.
Oh, but don't forget the creative touch, Lieutenant. Means a lot to a man like Bascom. Think of the setup. Months back, he introduces his charming pal Reynolds to the wealthy Donna. She marries Reynolds, all according to the plan. Ouch!
Oh, quiet, Junior.
Then it's all a build-up to our entrance, Angel. We were there to witness the clash between the aggrieved husband and the supposed blackmailer.
And all the time the poor woman was lying home dead.
No threats on Bascom's life, no letters for Reynolds to burn, no blackmail, no nothing. Just a plain, unsimple murder.
Reynolds gets the money from the estate, divides it with Bascom, then Swansea and the girl get their cut from him.
That's it, Lieutenant. Don't tell me you're through, Brooksy.
Yes, sissy. I can see that when little George falls off his scooter, I'll have to render first aid.
What's that, little George?
And when his baby sister tumbles out of her high chair, I'll have to... Oh, George Valentine, sometimes you get me so mad I could...
Oh, Brooksy.
Oh, what?
That's no way to talk to the father of 2 children. With 1949 just 4 days away, probably you've got your list of New Year's resolutions well started. But how about putting this resolution near the top of your list? Why not promise yourself to get the most out of your car? To do this, make sure you ask for Chevron Supreme gasoline, the premium quality gasoline that you can get at all standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations. The reason Chevron Supreme allows your car to do its very best is that it's fortified with high-octane blending agents. These blending agents give your car smoother acceleration on the straightaway, smoother power, and extra power on the steepest hills. Also, Chevron Supreme's climate-tailored to each different altitude and temperature zone in the West. Tailored to give you fast starts and speedy pickup in stop-and-go traffic.
So for best motoring in 1949, why not make a resolution right now to give your car peak performance by getting Chevron Supreme gasoline at independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next Monday night, a new case for George, Murder and One to Go. Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George with Frances Robinson as Claire. Wally Mayer appears as Lieutenant Riley. Tonight's story was written by David Victor and Herbert Little Jr. and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were Jay Novello as Lloyd Bascom, Louis Van Ruten as Reynolds, Gloria Blondell as Celeste, and Ken Christie as Swansea. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week for Murder and One to Go on Let George Do It. Remember, next week, those listeners who are now in Standard Time states will hear this broadcast 1 hour later. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System. Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. The payoff is murder, another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice, danger's my stock and trade. If it's touch and go with trouble and you want out, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Dear Mr. Valentine, maybe you've heard of my husband, Johnny Wyatt. Just a notch higher than a club fighter. Big, strong boy who hasn't gotten anywhere. Well, Friday night he meets Pat Driscoll at the Christopher Arena and the payoff is all set. But not if Johnny plays it my way. Then the payoff might be murder. Still, I want to take that.
Want to take that chance. Maybe my reasons for this are a little cockeyed, but if you're interested, let's talk it over. And it's signed Doris Wyatt.
Christopher Arena, Brooksy. Sounds like old home week. Remember?
Remember? I had to sit there and watch you get worked over just to satisfy the ego of a vicious little gangster named Salvador.
The late Johnny Salvador. So now there's a Douglas Harger running all of his rackets. It's enough to make a growing boy turn cynical.
One thing's certain from Mrs. Wyatt's letter. The air around Christopher Arena still has an odor from here to there and back again.
Yeah. With Harger in the picture, the fight could very well be a fix. But why should an ever-loving wife want to change the payoff so it might read murder?
Well, George, she admitted her reasons might sound a little cockeyed.
But just how cockeyed?
All right, Mr. Valentine, I'll tell you why I'm not going to let Johnny throw that fight Friday night.
Yeah, Mrs. Wyatt?
Because I've never had a mink coat.
Huh?
What's that? Exactly what I said, Miss Brooks.
Well, pardon my dunce cap, but if your husband played along with Harger, that would be about as short a cut to a mink coat as you'd want.
And you still don't seem to get it. The first time I ever saw Johnny, I was in a chorus line. I think I wanted a mink coat more than I wanted to breathe. And I could have had it even with a wedding band. But I picked Johnny. Doesn't it mean anything to you?
Yeah. You loved him.
It's more than that. For 10 whole years, I've had to stand by while he was getting his face pushed in. But at least he was always doing a clean, honest job. The only job he knew.
But, how do you think we can help you if Johnny's made up his mind?
You can help me change it.
Now, wait a minute. Look, Harger and his crowd have already placed their bets. They're not going to let Johnny or anybody else cross him.
I know.
Anyway, this is a little out of my line, Mrs. Wyatt. I wouldn't know how to go about this.
And I wouldn't know what to tell you. Oh, maybe I've got a one-track mind. A gasoline station along the road, an auto court. And who knows, maybe we could still have a couple of kids. Funny where you can wind up dreaming of a mink coat. Sorry I bothered you, Mr. Valentine. Forget it.
Well, now, wait a minute. Let me think about this.
Hey, Doris! Doris! I want... Oh, you got company, huh?
Where have you been, Johnny?
Training. You know, honey, Friday night, the big payoff.
Look at you. How much do you think you'll have to drink after Friday to forget what you did?
You know I'm only doing this for you, Doris. Hey, who are these people? We shouldn't be talking like this in front of
You don't have to worry about them.
Go on, get out, both of you, get out. I want to talk to my wife.
Might be a good idea if you did a little listening, Johnny.
Who are you to tell me what to do? I get enough of that. Get him out of here.
This
Doris,
is Mr. Valentine. I thought he could figure a way you could still fight an honest fight and not get hurt.
You mean you told him?
She was only thinking of you.
Get out, I told you.
Stop it, Johnny, stop it. This is one time your fists aren't going to help you. After the fight, I'm leaving you. For good.
You what?
Leaving you.
But, baby, it's 10 years. Things we had planned. This was going to be my last fight. Doris, you don't know what you're saying. You can't do it.
Take it easy now. Here, fella, sit down. Pull yourself together. Now, look.
Yeah.
If you're willing to try, I'll see if I can get you off the spot.
Oh, Johnny, please listen to him. What about it, Johnny?
Go ahead, mister.
Okay. You think you got it in you to beat this Driscoll guy Friday?
I think I can take him. Got at least one good fight left in him.
Good.
Besides, Driscoll thinks it's all fixed. He's been doing his training in nightclubs. Oh, but there's nothing you can do about it now, Valentine. You don't double-cross Hager and get away with it.
Well, you didn't fix this thing, Johnny. It was Steve Helianos. Your manager did all the talking for you.
You got a contract with this Helianos?
Sure, but I had no trouble getting out of that. Steve's been jipping me for years.
Well, what's the word, Johnny?
Just what you know it would be if I thought I was going to lose you.
Well, it looks like you've got another date at the Christopher Arena, George.
Yeah. Okay, we don't have much time. Get him under a cold shower, Doris. Fill him full of black coffee.
Yeah.
Where do you train, Johnny?
Murray's Gym, 8th Street. Hager took that place over from Salvador, too.
Well, don't go near the place. Use the gym at the YMCA until you hear from me.
What are you going to do?
See a man who has more reason than any of us to hate Hager and everything he stands for. A man who hated Johnny Salvador enough to kill him.
George, the basher.
But that guy's punch drunk. They got him locked away in a sanitarium.
Uh-huh. But I think he can still make the kind of sense that'll give us a fighting chance. Now, Brooksy.
Yes, George.
I'll pick you up at the office. Right now, it's time for a couple of characters to get a shock treatment.
Here, listen, my friend. Where do you get off telling me how to run my business? Aren't you forgetting? I am his manager.
As far as Johnny Wyatt is concerned, you're out of business, Helianos, as of now.
I'm warning you. Don't make things unhealthy for yourself.
Come now, Helianos. You're the one who's flirting with high blood pressure. Don't get so excited.
But you heard what he said, Mr. Hager.
And everyone else will if you don't stop raising your voice. Besides, you know how sensitive I am to raucous voices. Now, if you'll just leave us alone, I'd like to talk to Mr. Valentine.
Sure, okay. But don't forget I got a contract with Wyatt.
Yeah, sure. That piece of paper and a dime will buy you a cup of coffee. And if you have any complaints, take them up with the boxing commission.
You think I won, eh? Well,
Your tantrums are childish, Helianos.
Huh?
I'm afraid we both have to admit that round number 1 goes to this gentleman on points.
Thanks.
Well, the gentleman better stay out of my way. We don't want to wake up floating in his sewer.
Isn't that Pat Driscoll punching the bag over there?
Yes. You see him in one of his more conscientious moods. He's actually condescended to work out today.
Uh-huh. Well, no wonder Wyatt is the top heavy favorite. You stand to really clean up if he does it, Brody.
When he does it. Which brings us to the crux of the matter, doesn't it, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah. That Johnny Wyatt is going to fight the best he knows how. No matter which way you're betting or what you intend to do.
I can't allow Wyatt to win. There's almost $250,000 involved.
Okay, what do you propose to do about it?
Unlike Helianus, I don't indulge in lurid threats. I simply want to state a fact. If this bout doesn't come off as planned, neither you nor Wyatt will have much time to enjoy virtue's momentary triumph.
Well, now, that was the purpose of this little visit. Now we both know where we stand.
Mr. Hager, I understand this guy's giving you some kind of trouble.
Trouble? Of course not, Driscoll. We were merely discussing business.
Yeah. I was trying to find out how to bet Friday night. Mr. Hager here says you can't lose.
All right, I'm a sure thing, so what?
But I keep saying you can't win, Driscoll.
Huh?
Unless you got somebody in there to take a dive for you.
What's that? You know what I think I'm gonna do?
Hold it, Driscoll.
I'm gonna nail you one, sweetheart, and see how you look splashed on the floor.
Hey, look at the guy done it, Driscoll. Driscoll's out like a light.
I don't believe it. Who's splashed on the floor?
I am impressed, Mr. Valentine. If I weren't betting on that reclining gentleman, I'd be tempted to applaud.
Hey, buddy, I just see what you've done. The right cross you got there. Anybody managing you?
Out of my way, Buster. I got places to go and things to do.
But that right cross.
Now listen to Mr. Valentine carefully, Basher.
I'm listening. I get what you're saying.
Good, because this is very important.
Don't you see? This is your chance to win a big fight, not even have to go into the ring.
Well, how can I do that? Them keeping me here in the sanitarium.
Now look, Basher, you know Hager took over where Salvador left off. And he's doing the same thing to other fighters that Salvador did to you.
He can't do that. Look where I am because of him. And I used to be champ. Champ.
We know that, Basher.
Now, please, get the story straight. Johnny Wyatt wants to make this his last fight. And he wants to do a clean, honest job on Driscoll.
I wish they'd let me in there. I'd show that young punk a couple of things.
Yeah, Basher, yeah, I know. But you see, Wyatt's betting on himself. Every dollar he's got. His wife's depending on him, too.
All the money they've saved to buy a gas station, live a decent life, is on him to win.
Now, look, I'm no fight manager, and I want you to help me find the right trainer and things like that.
No.
But most important, how does a guy like Hager operate? I want to call every move he makes before he even thinks of it.
Oh, okay. I'll put you straight. Already, Hager's way ahead of you.
What do you mean?
What's the odds for Friday night?
Why, it's 7-2 for Johnny Wyatt to win.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, Mr. Valentine. Before the fight, the odds are going to be even bigger for Wyatt. Hager will see that they are.
How can he do that, Basher?
A couple of stunts like he done with you in the gym today when you socked Driscoll. He didn't have to hit the floor, but he did it so everybody would think he wasn't in shape. Yeah, part of the frame. And that gets in the papers, and everybody bets on Wyatt. Sure thing.
But, George, that means...
Yeah, I'm beginning to see what it means, Brooksy.
The odds should be on Driscoll. He's young, he's smart. If you just knew where to look, you'd see they got Driscoll training hard for this fight.
This puts me on the spot, Basher.
Yeah, well, it's an old deal. Salvador started doing it with me when I was getting washed up. I was 32. That was, 3 years ago.
Well, this is beginning to look like a work of art, George. Hager's got himself double insurance. If Johnny Wyatt doesn't throw the fight, Driscoll can probably beat him anyway.
Driscoll, smart kid.
Oh, boy, what a gold-plated goon guy I turned out to be. I let the Wyatts risk everything, their whole future on this fight.
You never can beat big boys like Hager when they got the fix on.
I know. Still, Johnny Wyatt's got to win Friday night. And I've got to make him. But how, Basher? How?
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about the well-tailored car. Whether your everyday motoring is in the Puget Sound area, along the Columbia River, or in the desert, there's one way you can be sure of command performance from your car. That's by relying on high